Today's episode is brought to you by Some Brewing Company. You can find them on all major social media handles over at Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Some Brewing Company. Go give them a like, a subscribe, all that stuff. Also, you can find them on their grand reopening coming up soon at 7153 Donovan, Canotil, Texas. Tell them Twisted Pete sent you.
Summer on the beat, oh get up and shake your cheeks.
Hello and welcome to The Middle is Open. Abel Carrillo here, along with Anthony Espelin.
What's up, guys?
Peter Carrillo.
Yes, sir.
And today, we're tough, guys. Yeah, you know why? Because we have a boxing Cutman in the building with us. Gerry Burgos, how are you doing?
Hey, doing great, guys. Thank you for having me. So excited to be back again with you guys today.
Yeah, so this is Gerry's second time in studio with us. Before we had him with the guys from Zen, and we had that was a fun show, right, Anthony?
Definitely was.
I mean, we're just a bunch of dudes, I don't know how many people were in here, but we were just hanging out. I was getting punched in the stomach. Gerry was wrapping Peter's hands. Mondo was feeling Peter's legs.
Somebody got kicked too.
Yeah, Peter got kicked. I mean, it was fun. What happened to Pat? Nothing happened to Pat, huh?
No.
He showed up late, like always.
Yeah.
Look at Gerry. Look at Gerry.
Shots fired.
Yeah. No, but
still love you, Pat. We still love you.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, but he was. It was just we were the ones getting picked on, the Carrillo brothers, but.
Yeah, not even me.
Yeah, Anthony. I mean,
I escaped.
It's because Anthony was working the...
he was behind the glass.
Yeah, he had an excuse, I guess.
So, Gerry, how do you like the studio? Because last time you came in, we had the plexiglass. We were trying to take proper precautions and things like that. But it's a whole different setup. Season 3, what are you thinking?
Hey, this is awesome, man. You guys changed it up a bit. I like the whole studio, the music studio behind me. I like the new setup, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you still feel comfortable here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this is like our lion's den. This is our cage. This is our boxing ring. So we're gonna give you some hard-hitting questions. Are you ready for it?
Of course. Shoot them up.
All right. So you kind of reached out to us, man, because I don't know what was it initially that one day we had our show, and then I went to go eat some tacos, and then I got a message from you saying hey, I want to come on the show and talk the world of boxing, but you seemed a little frustrated. What was it that made you want to reach out to us so you could come on?
It's just not really frustrated. It's just wanted to talk about the whole business of being a cutman and being in the fight world. You know? It could get pretty weird sometimes. You can get screwed a lot of the times. You can get pushed aside a lot of the times, but as always, this is something that you got to have a passion for. You got to love doing it because of those things that happen that most people don't see. And you got to just love it because sometimes you get paid, sometimes you get gypped out of some money, and sometimes you got to work for free, but it's you just got to love it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so let's kind of run through you through your background, who you are, how you got into the business. I mean, we kind of talked about it in the last show, but that was so long ago, and I mean, we're here to feature you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let's start off. Who are you, and how'd you get into the game?
So my name is Gerry Burgos. I've been a cutman now since 2015. That's when I actually switched over and got into it more per se. I originally started when I got out of the military. I needed to do something. I was drinking a lot. I was doing a lot of stuff that I shouldn't be doing, and I needed an outlet. So I started training myself in a MMA gym down in Anthony with Daryl Schoonover.
Okay.
He had just finished The Ultimate Fighter, was training down in Miami, and moved back to El Paso, and decided to open an MMA gym. And since it was down the street from where I work, I decided to join, and I started training in boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, judo, and jiu-jitsu. And that totally changed my life. I stopped drinking. I started eating good. And I just as soon as I started seeing how the business worked, I fell in love with it. You know, I wanted to be. I started learning how to coach. I started seeing how some of the shows were being put together. I learned how to wrap hands because I started competing. Originally, I joined the gym not to compete, but just to get in shape. And I did a little boxing match, and I just got hooked. With everything, with the adrenaline rush, the way everything is ran, everything how everything is done. So I started learning how to wrap hands back then, and I learned how to put rings and cages together. I learned how to deal with different fighters and coaching. And then I started coaching myself at different gyms around, and I helped some gyms open up. And because of my experience, I kind of started being a striking coach, a boxing coach, kickboxing coach, and a Muay Thai, and striking for MMA. And then I did some competitions in all of those, including judo and jiu-jitsu. I did some tournaments. And so originally, just like most cutmans, we all started training, competing. And then some gyms, they don't have the money to have a cutman, to hire a professional cutman. So I started learning for ourselves, for me. And again, since I love the business, I started watching videos, learning how to wrap hands, and then I started taking classes from other experienced cutmans,
like seminars and stuff.
Seminars, yes, sir.
I was gonna ask you, is there like a certification process for like through commissions and all?
Not through commissions. You can get second license for through commissions. Certain commissions do have a separate license for cutmans. Some organizations have certain certifications, but since this is an age-old job, there's technically no real training. You just gotta love doing it and put yourself out there, and you pretty much learn from experience and from talking to other cutmans.
I was gonna ask you, like, going back to when it all started. So you were military, and was your military background what kind of wanted to get you into like combat sports? Because you said you got out of the military, you're doing some things that you weren't really too happy with, and you wanted to make that change. But then you, like some guys, like, oh, I'm going to do yoga, I'm going to go join a bowling team or something. But you decided to join a gym and a combat sport, you know? Right. Was it something in the military that maybe, because like Peter always talks about, like when he was in the military and he was deployed, there were just like a bunch of guys that would go and they would wrestle, they would grapple or whatever, box here and there. Did you experience anything like that? And that was what kind of got you into it?
Well, I was in combat arms. I was a 19 Delta Cav Scout. So we were pretty much like the infantry. You know, we were out in combat, getting blown up, you know, getting shot at, clearing routes, doing raids, all of that stuff. So it's really hard when you come back to be in such a high level, stress level situations, and your adrenaline running all the time. And of course, we had guys that we would spar out there in Iraq. You know, we would roll, train in jiu-jitsu. So we kind of like that stuff as well. So I just wanted, like I said, you know, you kind of need that something to let that aggression out, an outlet to do. So it had something to do with that as well. And originally, before I joined the Army, I was a paramedic. So also working with as a cutman, that also gives me that part of experience as well, because I like the aspect of that as well. And that's how pretty much I decided to become a cutman, because being a coach, you have to deal with so many egos, so many gyms. And if you don't have your own gym, you're working for another gym. You know, you're working for somebody who owns the gym. And a lot of the times, coaches that don't own the gym get taken advantage of. You know, you don't get paid very well. Too many rumors. They'll say they'll pay you this, but they don't. You can spend a lot of time in a fight camp, and then when it's time for the fights, you get pushed aside, and somebody that has nothing to do with the team comes in and they put them in. You know, all of this stuff happens all the time. So that's when I decided to become just a cutman, where people would call me. And then I come in and I just do that job. I wrap hands. I take care of the fighter during the fight, and then I leave. I don't have to deal with the whole coaching aspect of it, having to worry about the fight, if the fighter's going to make weight, all those egos all put together. So that's why I decided to become a cut man.
So I guess like early in your career, you were kind of working with these gyms like you were talking about. Yes. You were helping these guys out. But then you started to see what the business really is. And sometimes, like you said, like you're there, you're in the camp, you're working with a fighter for 6 weeks or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden they bring in somebody else. And then you're like, oh, man, well. And then, so when did you make the transition to, I'm going to be my own kind of like my own boss? Like, I'm going to promote myself as Gerry Burgos, boxing cut man.
That's right. Back in 2015, that's when I decided to kind of step away from coaching. I still coach. Yeah. I still do a lot of my free time and down up in Las Cruces at Doña Ana Boxing. I help some of the kids there, but I no longer try to be a coach as much as I like to. So yeah, it was back in 2015. I decided to do as much research as I could, and try to learn my hand wrapping skills as best as possible. Started buying all the equipment that I needed, learning what medications I need to use, all that stuff. And yeah, it was back in 2015 that's when I decided to, you know what, I'm gonna step away from coaching and do this Cutman thing a lot more. And because I just felt like I loved it a lot more than coaching.
Where are you, I guess, currently licensed?
I'm under about, I think, 8 states right now under each commission. I've worked in Colorado, Arizona, Texas, Nebraska, California, Arizona, Las Vegas, and Mexico.
Damn.
Right, that's what I told him. He's living the life, man. He gets that call, and he's like, all right, I'm on a plane. Yeah. Or I'm on a Greyhound. Or,
well,
how you travel? You just drive?
Yeah. Or either I drive, or the coaches drive, or they'll buy me a plane ticket.
Nice.
And we'll fly there and fly back. They'll cover for depending on who it is. That's another thing. A lot of people, think, oh yeah, he's living the life, but a lot of the times there's times where I have to put money,
of course,
I have to pay for, especially for amateur fighters. But lately, man, I've been working with some amateur fighters that are paying me great. I mean, they're taking better care of me than some of the pros.
Really?
And the pros are the ones making money. You know what I mean?
Wow,
and there's pros that can't even give me $30.
That's where the promotions comes in, right?
Well, that's
that's different.
There's promoters that are like, well, we could get this guy and we want this guy. And they're the ones that handle the money, right?
And that's another thing. It's really hard to get in this business. You have to put yourself out there and not be scared and be really confident in your skills.
Yeah.
Because there's promoters who already have and know of other cutmans, for years. And they're great cutmans, right? Great cutmans. So, and then they'll leave it like the fights here, like an example. When Golden Boy came to do the fights in El Paso too long, instead of calling a cutman that lives close by, you don't have to pay me for a hotel because I drive and then I can drive myself back. Right. Mm-hmm. And give me the exposure and the experience to work there with local fighters.
Yeah.
No, they rather pay somebody a plane ticket, a hotel to bring them in, because those guys have been in the game obviously longer, which is great, and then a lot of those guys, another thing that I see is that they'll be like, because I talk to a lot of these other cutmans, and they're great. There's so many cutmans that I look up to, that I call and text almost every day, asking them questions. Hey, man, have you had this situation happen? What do you do? What kind of tape do you use? What kind of N-swell do you use? What would you do? This is what I would do. How would you do it?
Yeah.
And that's great. That's what I love about being in this organization, the World Cutmen's Association, because you have all these cutmans and cutwomen's from all over the world, from Germany, Brazil, Greece, even cutmans that don't even speak English.
Yeah.
We all communicate and ask questions, and that's how you learn the different rules and regulations from all over the world. Like here, we can use, let's say, epinephrine. In Germany and Mexico, epinephrine is illegal to use, so they have to use other stuff.
What is that?
Epinephrine? It's adrenaline, but it's under a composition 1000, which is legal almost everywhere. And it what it does is what they'll soak it into the cotton swab, and that's what you'll see pressing into the cut. And what that does, it doesn't cauterize the vessels. What it does is shrinks them, and it stops the bleeding.
Epinephrine, really?
Yes,
That's
but
cool.
it's a different composition. There's different compositions of it. That's why you got to buy 1000. All right.
Is it like sticky shit or is it?
No, it's a
like
liquid.
a liquid?
It's a liquid, and it's the exact same thing they use for EpiPens.
Yeah.
Except you don't inject it directly. It's into the cut, and what it does, it constricts the blood vessels, and it stops the bleeding.
That's fucking gnarly.
And then we also some people, a lot of the cutmans do this because I learned it myself, especially from Joe Souza, great cutman. He passed away back in 2007 from colon cancer. But this guy, Joe Souza, he was crazy. He would cut himself
just to fucking show
and
you.
test whatever would work and what wouldn't work.
Nice.
Yeah.
But thanks to that and thanks to him, it's how you got Stitch Duran. And that's how you got the rest of us that have learned from those, because we don't have to cut ourselves to figure out. You know, we already know that epi is it's gonna burn when you put it in the cut, but you know it's mostly what we use. You know, and
Should we try it or what?
yeah, let's cut somebody. I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, no, and then that's another thing that you learn from different cutmans, and you ask questions. You know, but there's also cutmans that will be all nice to your face, and then behind you they're trying to take your work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was gonna ask you that because you
Thomas
were talking about how when Golden Boy came in, I mean you're here obviously,
Right.
and they decided to go get another cut man, fly him in, put him in a hotel, have him be on, you know, either the undercards or the main event, whatever it is. Where like how do you get into that?
It's like I said, it's really hard. You just have to put yourself out there.
Like who are you reaching out to? Are you reaching out to promoters? Are you reaching out to managers?
Yeah, managers, promoters, fighters. I mostly am where I'm at now. For you, first of all, if you want to get in this business, you gotta love it. You gotta have a passion for it.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna waste a lot of money. You're gonna spend a lot of money.
For sure.
The tape and the gauze is not cheap. A little bottle of epinephrine, it cost me $400 to buy,
shit.
and it's this big. All right, and then you also have to get permission from the commissions. Some commissions will give you a prescription because you can't just get it anywhere. All right, so some commissions they'll give you, oh, you're the cut man. Here's a prescription.
So you're not going to Juarez and smuggling anything over through your butt.
No, not at all. Especially because epinephrine. Because of that reason, now I'm glad you brought it up. In Mexico, they don't allow. It's illegal right now to use epi in fights. Why? Because the cartels were buying those bottles of epi in bulk, so that they could cut something off.
Oh, wow.
And keep you alive because they'll put it.
Damn,
and
that's
you don't
fucking
bleed out.
gangster shit.
Damn.
So,
Gangster
and
shit.
I learned this from another cutman
Yeah.
who lives in Mexico, who trained me. Thanks to him, Dr. Fox, Dr. Zamorano. He's a great cutman, and I learned from him. I actually improved my hand wrapping skills thanks to him. Shout outs to Dr. Fox. He's right now he's I think second.
Jerry's over here like, man, I got this bad cut over this guy's eyebrow, and he's like, dude, I just stopped the bleeding of a guy's head coming off.
It's falling off.
Yeah. So, you know, and then you learn there's different medications that we use. It's not just epi. There's a bunch of other stuff that you can use that it costs a lot more, but you know, it all depends. Like I said, if you want to get into this business, first you have to go to a gym.
Yeah.
You know, you get trained, learn what it feels like to get hit in the face. That's another thing that helps.
Yeah.
A lot of the Cutmans,
you got to be relatable. Like,
yeah.
right,
like the,
You can't say suck it
someone-
up if you've never been.
yeah. Someone's
Right.
not gonna trust you
Exactly.
when they got this big old gash and you're over there fucking putting this big old cotton swab in their eyebrow. They're like, man, this guy, he doesn't know what the fuck I'm going through.
right.
Yeah, okay.
And like I said, most of the Cutmans were either boxers, like Stitch Duran. He started doing kickboxing and Muay Thai when he was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
And when he came to America, he opened up his own gym. So again, he had to learn because sometimes some gyms they don't have the
Yeah.
money to hire a cut man. So he started learning on his own, and then again, start training. The way I did it, what I suggest is find a gym, call one of the head coaches there and be
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm learning. I wanna see if I can go in and practice.
Yeah.
Whenever they go spar, can I wrap their hands before they spar?
Yeah.
Because that's how you get practice. I mean, you can watch a video 100 times.
Yeah.
You can watch my videos 1,000 times over and over. But if you're not practicing, especially practice on yourself to know what it feels like,
Oh yeah.
or if you've never had your hands wrapped before, that again,
Yeah.
that's why you have to be you got to have some experience of fighting, because that's how I started. I
Yeah.
used to get my hands wrapped by Daryl Schoonover. That's
Yeah.
how I learned myself, and he learned as well because he used to fight. He fought in the UFC and has fought in all over the world.
Yeah.
So he knows what it feels like. He knew how to do it. So I learned that way. So you will spend a lot of money, a lot of time, working for free.
So I have a question as far as who are some of your regulars that you have that are up and coming, that are like big names that we should keep an eye out for, and if you could choose, not necessarily professional, but just a big name that's out there right now that you could rap, who would that be?
A big
Or
name.
be a cutman or anything for, like a big name right now out there. Obviously, I mean, you could say Canelo or something, but someone that you like personally.
I got a chance to. I think right now, so far, I fulfilled one of my dreams. I worked Austin Trout's corner down in
okay.
Mexico before he fought in Dubai.
Yeah.
So that was a really awesome, and I had wrapped his hands before.
Yeah.
And up when he was living in Las Cruces, I did a training wraps for him.
Do you keep a portfolio of
who's-
former champ, so and so, like you?
No,
You don't
just
keep
I
would keep a portfolio on that.
I just keep. I take pictures and
Yeah.
pretty much that's all I have.
That's cool.
And
Autograph book.
But
Yeah.
my main goal and my biggest dream right now is to work for the UFC as a cutman.
Oh, okay.
Dude.
You
That'd be so sick.
you know how you were saying Golden Boy was here?
Yeah.
Rosado is one of my favorite fighters because he's a dog, dude. He gets beat up, cut
Yeah.
up all.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to be his? Is he Puerto Rican too?
Rosario, yeah, he is. He is Puerto Rican, but they get cut very easily because of the scar tissue. It's just like when you watch Cotto fight. After his one round, his face is already starting to, but it's all the scar tissue. And those guys, yeah, they give you work, and it's awesome. But again, like you see cutmans like Ted Lucio. He started in boxing. He's one of the biggest names. He's been Donnie Garcia's cutman, a bunch of others. But they moved over from boxing
Into UFC.
into MMA because the organization pays the cutmans. You don't have to rely on any percentages
or the camps
or
the promotions.
camps and the
Yeah.
promoters to
Yeah.
pay you. The UFC pays the cutmans just to do that job. Plus, they provide everything. They provide the tape, they provide the gauze, they provide all the meds. So all you got to do is bring in your personal stuff. You just got to show up.
There's one movie that kind of just gave like a little hint of what it is to get a cut man in your corner, and like the promotion team too, not the promotion team, but like the fighters to have to pay for it was Woody Harrelson and Antonio Banderas. They're like these boxers, like kind of washed up boxers.
Yeah.
And they just call them overnight, like, hey, these guys got in a car accident or whatever. Do you guys want to come and fill in?
What's that called?
I can't
Oh,
remember.
man.
I remember. I know which one.
And
we
then-
were
Where they
talking
drive
about.
to Vegas together for the big
Yeah,
fight,
because
and they kick the shit out-
they're
yeah,
best
yeah.
friends. And
Yeah,
shit.
they're best friends.
God,
and
that's a badass
and-
movie too.
Sounds
and
like
they
a
have
great
like the
movie.
same
And
girlfriend.
there's
One
a-
of them is
Yeah,
Dad's
yeah,
girlfriend,
and they
but
have
now
the
they're-
same
Yeah,
girlfriend.
yeah,
They have the same
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Damn.
one of them was dating her, and
Pull
then
that shit
the
up,
other one
Jamie.
started dating her.
Yeah,
You
But
see
no,
that.
and then that's the thing
but-
too. There's promotions who have dedicated cutman.
Yeah.
Like Top Rank, they have Stitch Duran right now, and that and
That
they
guy
have
just looks cool.
one works the red corner, one works
Yeah.
the blue corner, and helps wrap hands in the back.
Oh.
You
But-
know, and that's
but-
the best way to do it because then you don't have to rely on the percentages because the percentage that a cutman gets is between 3 to 5% when you're starting out, and then if you have a big names, it's up to 15% of the fighter's purse.
wow.
Yeah.
How much is
So you
Stitch
don't-
making? do you think?
Stitch generates about $4 million a year,
What a fucking savage that guy.
No,
but he's also been in movies. He
He's
has
a cool
his own
guy, man.
he has his
Yeah.
own tape. He has his own stuff, and it's because big fights. I can't remember the name of the fighter right now, but this guy was all beat up, had all kinds of cuts, and Stitch kept him in to finally win the fight.
Do you
And
think?
those are the big names.
well, like
Do you think it's harder now? I mean,
yes,
because they stop fights almost not instantly, but they stop them. Like a cut gets bad enough, they
yes,
don't give
yeah.
you that opportunity to kind of work with it at
right.
times.
So each
Yeah.
the commissions they have their rules and
Yeah.
for that. That's why again you have to love this job because a lot of this job entails for you to read. Every time I have to go to Colorado or I have to go to their commission to their rules and reread everything, because a lot of the stuff is very similar, but they tend to change a little bit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It could be something different. Oh, you can't use this type of gauze to wrap hands, or it can only be this amount. You know what I mean? Or this thick, or this much. So you have to read. When in doubt, read. Or when you get there, get with the commission and ask them yourself.
yeah. And then I'm sure, like, being in this game, you start to know what commission is, like, what states even are going to be
Right.
the ones to, like, stop a fight early. Or,
Right.
oh, hey, Pedro is fucking, he's looking over this fucking sanctioned bout.
Right.
Fuck, this guy, like, for sure,
You
this
better
guy's
not
going to
get cut.
Yeah,
or
don't
Right.
get cut because
Right.
this motherfucker's going
And
to
then
stop
the
the fight.
doctors know that. That's another thing. When you can, if you're gonna be the cut man for an organization or a fighter, go talk to the ringside physician. The ringside physician is the one that would stop the fight.
So tell
And
them
they
what you
have
could do. and-
like generally, if the cut it's half an inch wide or an inch wide between that, the rule is to stop the fight.
wow.
So sometimes you got to tell the doc, let me work on it. All right, give me a round to work on it.
Yeah.
All right, and then this is where you have that good communication with the fighter. You have to tell them protect that eye, protect that cut. All right. So and it also depends where the cut is. I mean, there's cuts, especially right on the eyelid, that they're really bad to work on.
Yeah.
What's the worst
you-
cut you've ever seen?
are you
Right
obligated?
there, like right here.
Are you
Oh.
obligated to give your like, hey, I can't work on this? Like you tell the corner. Like,
No, you
hey.
try your
Yeah, you try-
hardest. You try your best.
But like
And
if it
there's
goes
gonna
real
be
bad and you're like, damn, this could really permanently. Are you
Right.
obligated
No,
to
you
hey,
can.
you know what, man,
you
I
can,
can't
but
do
that's
this.
where you have to know the rules, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's after before the fourth round,
Mhm.
it could be ruled a no contest,
Mhm.
right? So if it's
Okay.
after the fourth round, they're gonna go to
The
the
scorecard.
judges
Yeah.
score.
Mhm.
But then you have to think about this: is your fighter winning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because then if my fighter's winning,
That,
and
let's-
I'll be like, I'll tell the ringside physician, look, this cut is pretty bad. I'm protecting my fighter. Let's
Yeah.
stop the fight.
oh, okay. That's,
I think what Peter's alluding to is because sometimes, like you said, early in your career, you're more involved with some of the gyms.
but he's
now,
looking at the better,
yeah.
best
But hold on,
interest
hold
of
on.
the fighter.
But
Always.
now,
You always.
but now you're like Cutman Burgos. Sometimes they call you in because of your rep. You know,
Right.
they're like, "Hey, man, we're gonna get this guy. He's gonna give us a good price or whatever it may be." Right? They call you in. That's not necessarily your fighter in terms of you don't know who he is exactly. So how much of a sticky situation does it get where you know that not but the trainer may be like, nah, this guy needs to stay in the fight. But you as a cut man, you're thinking otherwise. You're like, oh, fuck. This
Right.
guy's fucked.
And then again, that's something that you have to talk to his trainers
Yeah.
ahead of the fight. If you're coming in and you don't really know, especially if I'm the cutman for a show, and let's say, I'm gonna be the cutman for the
You
got
gotta
to
lay it out there. How you
I have to go in there and tell them, look, this is how I work. This is what I'm gonna do. Because some trainers don't realize that technically I'm the first person that has to go in the ring.
Yeah. Well,
And
here's
some
the thing.
commissions only allow one person to go into the ring, so the coach has to speak through the ropes.
Yeah.
So if there isn't a cut, then I work through the ropes, and then the ref goes in.
Because I've seen
the
this.
cutman and the trainer goes in.
You talked about working with Austin Trout before he went over to Dubai and everything. And I saw this with, what's his name, Louis Burke, right?
Yes.
So that's
another guy.
That's Austin Trout. That was his trainer early in his career.
Yes.
That's his main guy. But then as Austin Trout's name got bigger and bigger, he became this this global star. Louis kind of, I don't know his camp, but he kind of took, he moved to the cutman role where they brought in another trainer, but he was I guess Austin felt a little more familiar. Well, obviously they went in together, they grew together.
And
so
again, that's Louis Burke. Shout outs to Louis Burke, man. That's another trainer and cutman that I look up to. I've learned a lot of stuff from him. Same thing when I was first starting. Rick Vasquez from Las Cruces. I learned a lot when I was first starting. Again, Louis Burke started the same way. He needed sometimes you need. That's how you learn to be a cutman. But Louis, there's a whole story about that. But no, Louis has always. It was until recently that because of Austin moving to Houston, but the whole time Louis was the one training Austin Trout over here. And like I said, I just happened to be down in Mexico with some fighters that work with Austin. And I was there talking to his coach, and I got the chance to work his and he already knew me from Las Cruces.
That's cool, man.
You know, and it was great. It was like awesome experience. It gave me experience, but like you're saying, it happens that sometimes some trainers do sometimes move over to that position.
Yeah.
But Louis was always Austin coach and cutman because of that. You know, it was cheaper for them to just do both.
Yeah.
And that's how I started. I used to do both. And it's really hard to do both because sometimes you're looking at your fighter trying to tell them what they need to do, and then you're like trying to get, he has a cut, I got to do this. So it's really hard. So that's why in boxing a lot of coaches rather have a cutman there, because then the coaches can just focus on coaching the boxer. Mm-hmm. And then I can just focus on looking, okay, he has a cut, and then I can do whatever I need to do to work on the cut.
Yeah.
It's crazy because we kind of saw this in Pacquiao's later career. Once Freddie Roach kind of, he not wanted to stop training Pacquiao, but then Pacquiao got his best friend, because he used to be the side guy, side trainer. And then all of a sudden, he became the main trainer and stuff. It's fascinating how these guys work.
I was gonna ask you earlier. You said you had some great amateurs that you've worked on recently. Any names you want to throw out as far as careers we should be keeping an eye out for? Or
Definitely.
even pro debuts and all?
You guys gotta look out for Cavante James. I know you guys see him a lot. He's 13 years old. He's been I might mess this up, but I think he's right now 9-time national champion.
Jesus.
And he's
he's
only
13?
13 years old, and he actually knows how to box. He's not he knows how to box. I mean, he's got great footwork, great combinations. Unfortunately, he moved to Atlanta, but they still hit me up. They still say that once he goes pro, they're gonna call me up to work with him. So be on the lookout for that kid. From Las Cruces, you all know already, Josh the Boss. She's barely 13 years old as well, and I think she's like 6-time, 7-time national champion as well. She's right now number 1 in the nation under USA Boxing, which I was in Lubbock and watched them fight, and I just posted a picture as well with Ariana Carrasco. Be on the lookout for her. She's barely 17. She's number 1 in the nation, multiple-time national champion. As a matter of fact, she's going to go in the military to be an officer and box for the military.
Wow.
That's how badass this little girl is. And she's almost my height. I just posted a picture the other day, and I just wrapped her hands. And she's also worked with Terry Green out of Colorado and her dad. And so that's another – those are some of the amateurs to be on the lookout for as far as boxing-wise.
What's the environment like when you're rapping the fighters? Are you kind of hyping them up? You're kind of getting them going, or is it a quiet? They're kind of just getting in their mindset, or how do you go about that?
That's a great question, man. A lot of the times, because when they're getting their hands wrapped before a fight, they know it's go time.
Yeah.
And I know it again because of my experience. Oh man, here it comes. It starts to build up. So some fighters are in their own world, with headphones listening to music, so I leave them be.
Yeah.
I'll talk
You're not
to
trying
them.
to like say, hey,
No,
how
I'm
was
not
dinner last
hyping
night?
them up. I don't ask them if they're ready, nothing like that. So it's some fighters, their nerves are all about talking.
Yeah.
So you just sit there talking to them, if you're the coach, hey, you just tell them, hey, man, you already did the work. This is where the fun is. Let's go out there, have fun, or you shoot jokes. Trying to calm them down, trying to get their minds off things. So it all depends on the fighter and who you're working with. And like I said, if you don't know the fighter, you always have to make time to sit down and talk to the fighter a little bit, or their camp or their coaches or their trainers, because they all if they don't know you, they. I mean, I've been in some dressing rooms where, they don't want me to wrap their hands because they're used to their coaches. So that happens as well. Like when I was in Albuquerque working the kickboxing fights, I was there to wrap every fighter's hands, but there were fighters that I didn't wrap. Yeah. Because they're used to their coaches and they have that rapport with them, they feel more comfortable, and that's fine.
How does that happen?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're there for the welfare of the fighter. Doesn't matter if you know them. It doesn't matter if you've been working with them for years. Your job is to take care of that fighter. Yeah. No matter what. Once that fighter get put into your care, your number one goal, your only reason that you're there is to take care of that fighter. All right. The same thing. You're there to pretty much take care of them. Save them from themselves, pretty much. Because there's some fighters that are really tough, and you're not gonna get
in the moment. They don't know what's good for them. Like
right.
Somebody's got to step in and give them a voice of reason.
So and somebody asks, how does that happen? Well, I mean, they won't come up to the chair or my area. Or I'll be asking them, hey, man, do you need me to wrap your hands? And they'll tell me, no, I got, my trainer will wrap. Cool, that's fine. As long as you're comfortable, that's all I care about. I care about what you're going to do, because I understand. I compete it myself.
How many personalities does Gerry Burgos have with, like, your experience of being a paramedic as well as military background? Because when you walk into a locker room, a dressing room, and trying to get these guys prepared for their fight, not everyone's the same, Right. Like you said, some guys are crazy off the wall, and then some guys are just like cool as a cucumber. Right. So how are you? And how do you adapt to that? Like, how many personalities do you have?
I like to think that I'm assertive and in certain things depending on what I'm doing. But I usually try to be as calm as I can. You know, regardless of how the fighter's acting prior to the fight, they're all nervous. Yeah, I mean, if you don't get nervous before a fight, you're BSing. Well, there's already something wrong with you when you're a fighter. Okay, we're always fighters are. There's got to be something there that makes you want to fight and compete in combat sports. All right, but I try to be as calm as I can you know, but I also have to be very, very confident and very, very disciplined. And that's where my military background comes in and my paramedic stuff comes in, because you got to know, you know, the medical side of it, you know, the bone structures, the phase, what breaks, what you're going to use, how you're going to go about it, how much pressure you're going to put on, where the cut is, you know, all that stuff. And then, of course, the rules and regulations, the discipline aspect of it. You got to read. You got to know your shit. You know, you can't just show up and be like, hey, I'm going to be the cut man.
I'll fix this guy.
You know, and then they don't know. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that are like, how are you even a cut man? That hand's going to break. Like, I've seen some very horrible hand wraps. I've seen people, you know, there's certain things that I pride myself on doing, and that there's also standards that every cut man should abide by.
Yeah.
But I try to be as calm as possible.
How about if you're in the room? Because like you said, you were doing an event where you're there to work everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy's like, nah, I'm good. Like, my trainer's going to do it. And you see the trainer and you're like, man, that guy fucked his hand up. Do you intervene? Or are you just kind of like, no, I mean,
winking at the fighter?
I usually,
got duct tape.
bro, this guy.
I usually let it be.
Okay.
Because for the most part, if it's really bad, the commission's gonna tell them. There's always you know, not so much in amateur boxing, but in amateur MMA and professional boxing, MMA, and all that, there's always a commission. You can't wrap a fighter's hands until
like
somebody
right there,
they have to watch.
Yeah.
So, of course, some of those, they don't even know what they're doing. All right. Not everybody knows what they're doing. So some of those guys, for the most part, they know what they're supposed to be looking at.
Yeah.
What are regulations on hand wraps? Like, what are, like, I guess, like, size? And
It depends on what size and what sport you're doing.
So let's say boxing. just
Boxing,
like
there's so many different rules for it, but mainly what I always say, rule of thumb, you can use one full roll of gauze and one full roll of tape per hand.
Okay.
Right? For people who suck at numbers like me or can't memorize numbers, all right? Because they
Is
go
that
by
everywhere?
numbers.
Is that like in
That's
the States at least?
usually it's a unified rule,
Okay.
which means, you know, in the States everywhere.
Yeah.
But some states will say, oh, it's got to be shorter than this. And then the knuckle padding can't be no more than an inch thick,
Okay.
all right? But
Like
you
width?
can compress,
Width-wise?
the
Oh,
width of it. And then tape cannot be over the knuckle padding.
Yeah, I remember last
Right?
time
It has to be 1 inch behind the knuckles, right? So that's like the rule of thumb. I always tell everybody, you can use a full roll of tape for boxing and a full roll of gauze, all right? And then for MMA, it's kind of the same thing, but it'll be shorter because and less tape, less knuckle padding, and shorter on the wrist because the commission does not allow tape to stick out no more than half an inch from the glove.
Okay.
Because, you know, you guys seen you can use
grab
it to
gloves.
scrape to scrape and all that stuff, which it's legal.
Some dog
But
shit.
so there's different rules. Like I said, read, you know. But my rule of thumb, I always tell people, a full roll of tape and a full roll of gauze on each hand, especially for boxing because you have a bigger glove and you want to feel the void. You know, when people when they put their hands in the glove, there's a little bit of a gap, right?
Yeah.
So I like to put a lot of padding on the knuckles because what that does, it compresses
It just makes it
and then
fucking
it makes
super
it tight,
Yeah.
right? So that the punch connects with a lot more
And
force.
there's no movement.
And
inside
there's
the
no
glove.
movement, right? And there's none of this when you hit and hit, right?
It's just fucking
Hit
solid.
and hit. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a solid. And then you should always protect the wrist, the thumb, the metacarpals, and the knuckles. If you do that,
Fighter should
then
be good.
you should be good. But you should always put tape in different directions so that the bones don't shift in any direction, no matter how hard or how soft you're hitting.
Is it more for padding or is it more for structure? So that the wrist stays straight.
Right. It should be like a cast when you're done.
Okay.
Like more support.
Yeah,
Well,
it's more support.
I remember that time that you wrapped my hands. I used those wraps for about 2 months. I just kept letting go on.
He's all the grill.
Gross. They were already worn out.
He was
and I
all
just
beating
like,
it at home.
Knuckles up, baby. Knuckles up.
Yeah, no, and you can and the ones I gave you they were for MMA. You know, so if you guys want, I can demonstrate later some boxing reps and show you how much more.
It
I had a
was
question.
shortly
I had a
after
question.
that I used. Remember, I made
Yeah,
that
yeah,
video
you
where I
were-
was hitting the bag. And I was
sent the
like,
video.
I was calling
Yeah.
out Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And
No, he called out
never got
RuPaul.
that
He
video.
called out RuPaul.
That's
Jake
who it
Paul.
was.
Any of the Pauls.
Any Paul.
Any Paul that wants some.
Take him out.
I was gonna ask you because you were talking about how you worked with some gyms. I'm sure you start to gain relationships and everything, but then what about like you're cool with these guys at one gym in particular? Like you're all homies with everyone there, but then when it comes to an event, this team from the rival gym like calls you and they're like, "Yo, Gerry, we want you, man.
Cobra Kai.
We're gonna pay you." And you seem like a guy that's not all about the money. You like building relationships. You like to stay in good terms with everyone. But this team is like, "Yo, Gerry, we want you, man. Like you have a hell of a rep. We want you." Is there a time when like that gym that you have a really good relationship is like, "Fucking Gerry, man." This guy
I'm
fucked
glad you
us."
brought that up, man, because it has happened. I've worked a corner where one of my old sparring partners and friend was opposite, you know, and they know. I was like, I'm just a cut man. I'm not their coach, you know. I don't talk as a cut man.
Okay.
I do not instruct.
That's what I was
Hey,
gonna
keep an
ask
eye
you.
out for this or
That's
that.
all.
you're
That,
good.
all I do is take care of the fighters.
Yeah.
I wrap the hands. If there's a cut, I work on it.
Okay.
You know,
Not
and
even
that's
like
it.
a protect the eye type deal. Nothing like
Oh,
that.
yeah, at that point,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
protect the eye if there's a cut, right?
No.
Okay.
But I know you
But
brought
not
that
strategy or
up,
anything.
and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
no strategy because I have work, and and most of the fighters they understand it as a business,
Yeah.
you know, and it has happened where two coaches are going at it. There's gyms that have split up.
Yeah.
You know, it has happened. They'll call me up trying to start drama and this, you know, try to get me to pick sides. And I'm like, hey, stop right there. I'll tell you like I tell everybody else. I'm a cut man. I go where I'm hired. If you call me up ahead of time before this other person and I give you my word that I'm going to be there, then I'm going to go with you.
Yeah.
But your job is to let me know ahead of time and ask me, hey, man, where you need to. So I don't pick sides. I work with whoever hires me.
Yeah, you give your
And I
best
work with
effort to
everybody.
whoever it is.
Yes, my job is to take care of the fighter, and so far I let my work speak for itself.
Yeah.
You know, and it has happened where you know, certain gyms, they're like, hey, you know, this and, you know, and I'm like, nope, I'm not. That's not what I do. I'm not interested in the drama.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in the bickering between you guys. You know, and I've had fighters that have dropped me. They no longer want to work with me because I still work with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is the most ignorant thing in the world.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but that's their excuse to not pay me because there's pro fighters who don't want to work with me because they don't want to pay me. You know.
Yeah.
But you're a pro fighter. I mean, you're a pro fighter. You say you don't got money to pay me, you know, but you're over there buying Nike shoes,
Yeah.
custom shoes for your next fight, paying a photographer to go with you everywhere,
But they can't pay the cut, man.
right?
Yeah.
And they want to screw me over,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
They
and-
can't even give me $20 to cover for the tape, you
Yeah.
know, or
And
get me a room, or you know, they get a whole room for themselves with 2 beds, but they can't let me freaking use the next bed.
Yeah.
You know, but they
Yeah.
got money to pay because they're too worried about their image,
Yeah.
which is another thing. You know, we'll get into that too because a lot of these fighters are scamming people. You know, and I don't know how they're not getting sued.
Do you think it's? I mean, I'm not saying fighters aren't smart, but do you think it's the fighters, the promotion, the managers, the trainers, the gym? Who are the ones scamming people?
It could be all of the above. I've seen promoters scamming people,
Mhm.
scamming fighters. There was a promotion, MMA promotion here. I'm not gonna say no names. A few years back, they did a show, took all the money and ran. Didn't pay the fighters.
No way.
You know,
What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. And I was there.
Fighters
You
all
know.
beat up. Like what?
Yeah. Fighters getting
man.
arms broken and stuff,
That's
and
fucking whack.
and they take off. They don't pay the fighters.
Yeah.
I seen it in Mexico. I'm not gonna say no names,
Yeah.
but the promoter took off and didn't pay some fighters down there.
That's crazy.
It happens.
Yeah.
Also, the fighters too, the boxers, the gym managers, everybody will scam people. But I've seen boxers where they'll be like, "Hey, because there's some fighters in especially for amateur MMA and pro too, where the fighters, if they sell a certain amount of tickets, they get a percentage of what they sell.
Yeah.
So there's fighters. I think that's a scam because I've seen it happen. They'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna be at this fight. Come buy my tickets," and they have thousands of followers. So a lot of people, they put on exciting fights, but they put on exciting fights because they're fighting bums,
Yeah.
right? It's another thing. But anyways, they'll be like posting it. "Oh, I'm gonna be fighting here. I'm gonna be fighting here. Come buy my tickets," and they sell a ton of tickets. Little do they know that the fighter hasn't even signed a contract to fight on that card.
Wow.
And they're already buying tickets
And then they get
off him. And then later on, the fighter does not even
in
fight.
the fight,
And then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys." But
Something
none of the fans get their money back.
Yeah.
That's a scam to me, if you ask me.
Yeah.
they
you
use
know.
a name to sell the tickets. Get
Right.
rid of
They're not even in the promo
Yeah.
card or nothing, right?
That's crazy.
And they're already selling tickets to their fight that they're not even booked yet. They
Yeah.
haven't even signed a contract.
Well, it even happens like in the big fights too. Like for example, just last weekend, Manny Pacquiao was supposed to fight Errol Spence.
Right.
There was an injury involved in everything, and then Pacquiao ends up fighting this dude, which he's a hell of a fighter. But I mean, he ends up beating Pacquiao, but nobody knew who the
It
fuck
wasn't
he
the
was.
fight that people
Yeah, and it
wanted.
wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't.
I was actually happy Pacquiao lost though.
Yeah, but well.
In that sense,
But what I'm saying is like it happens because let's be honest, to go see a Pacquiao fight, you're gonna be paying $1,000 for you and your loved ones or whoever. Like
Pacquiao still made $25 million.
yeah, so you're gonna be paying thousands of dollars to go fly over there,
Right.
Okay.
book a room and
Yes,
everything.
Yes.
And then you find out he's gonna fight this dude that
This other guy.
you have no clue who he is. Errol
Yeah.
Spence isn't fighting, but you might as well go because you've already bought the
I
tickets.
want to
Right.
piggyback off this situation with Pacquiao and how was Earl Spence up first. And, I believe a fighter reaches an age where they just can't compete
Right.
to where they were.
That happens to everybody.
Yeah. I mean, Father Time catches up with people. Not saying he's not a great fighter and all that, but Pacquiao's way past his prime. If you don't see that, you're ridiculous. Going to that, is it kind of to me, it's kind of damaging that these guys keep coming back, and that was a real fight. That was
Right.
For a belt.
Right.
That damages boxing, in my opinion, because he's far past his prime. They basically said, "Here's your belt, and you're going to defend this belt now." I mean, he had it technically because he was paying you got to pay the fees on it, right, or whatever.
Well, you have to defend it. You got to
Yeah,
fight.
you got to defend whatever they tell you and all.
Yeah.
But at that point, it's like, dude, it's just damaging, in my opinion, to bring someone like that.
I agree to some extent
I don't-
because I think it devalues the work of some other boxers that are
up and
coming up.
Yeah. And that's what I'm getting at.
Well-
Wait. So that fight took place. It was for a belt. It was an actual boxing, like real fighters
Right.
and all that. Then we have, on the other hand, we have like Jake Paul fighting Woodley.
I knew that was coming.
And it's a boxing fight, and they're the main event. Two guys that, yes, Woodley's a fighter, and he probably has some boxing, or I don't know his
Well,
career
he was
too
a
well.
UFC champ.
Yeah, I know he was a UFC champ, but I'm saying, and Gerry and I were talking about this earlier, how he's not. Yes, he's a fighter and everything, but he's not a strictly boxing person. You could argue that someone like Keith Thurman. I'll throw out a B fighter. In my opinion, I like Keith Thurman, but he's like a B fighter, right? Solid B fighter. He could top Jake Paul, I think.
Right.
Honestly.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But Jake Paul's calling this like, now I'm calling out Canelo, and yes, I know you want to sell tickets and all. Are those fights, the popularity fights, more damaging than a Pacquiao, 52-year-old Pacquiao coming out or whatever, defending a belt?
I don't think either one is damaging to the
But
sport
Gerry
of
made a
boxing.
good point that there's on the
I didn't hear
co-main event. Well,
Okay.
on the co-main event,
Yeah, I didn't hear Jerry's response. But I'm just gonna give my take really quick.
all right.
So I don't think it's damaging either way because that's something that's been going on since the beginning of time with boxing.
But it's
guys
happening more often.
guys that have been hanging around the game for far too long. Happened with Muhammad Ali, you know.
Right.
So old guys stepping in, retiring like 3, 4, 5 times. They get into the ring, they get their ass kicked, and then. But I don't think it's damaging because the guy that they're gonna fight, all of a sudden gets a name for himself. You know, when they wouldn't have had that opportunity. Like this guy that just fought Pacquiao.
Yeah, but he's already like
But he's
38
he's a
years
real
old.
boxer.
No,
Yeah,
no.
But he's already
no.
late in his career too.
But I'm saying, this guy that fought Manny Pacquiao, nobody knew of him. But now in his next fight, in his promotions and everything,
the guy who took down
the
Manny
guy who took down the
Right.
legendary
Right, of
Manny
course.
Pacquiao.
Of
So
course.
it's gonna build up him, and then whoever he fights, it's like that trickle down.
It's just like the Anthony Joshua fight when he fought
Andy Ruiz.
Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
You know? Nobody knew who Andy Ruiz
And
was.
the only reason Andy Ruiz got that fight was because
the
this
other guy
fell out. Yeah,
popped
he fell out.
hot
Yeah.
for steroids.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like again, now Andy Ruiz, we know him as a top
what I'm
5
saying is-
heavyweight.
But see, those
Anthony
are real
Joshua
boxers.
was
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony
But hold
Joshua
on.
was at his prime though.
But hold on.
Also.
So like going back
True.
to these,
Solid
going
point.
back to
Solid
these
point, Peter.
spectacle fights, right? So Peter's talking about like Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley, but I had mentioned to you that in one of those fights, Billy Joe Saunders, I can't remember what spectacle fight it was, like these YouTube fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Joe Saunders was on the undercard of that
Right.
fight. He would have never got seen by any of the public if he wasn't on that fight, and it wasn't and if it wasn't for the popularity of these YouTube guys. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right. No,
So
and
then,
that's a very, very solid point. Just like we were talking about the Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley fight, they're attracting a lot of eyes and a lot of pay-per-view buys. Just like Amanda Serrano. She's in that card,
Yeah.
right? She's going to make some money, and millions of people are going to watch her fight because of the Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley.
let's say Jake Paul knocks out Tyron Woodley. Who gives a fuck? But like he's saying, people are
made
going
a
to
lot
be
of
like,
money.
who the fuck was that? Amanda? Who was it? And then they're going
Right.
to look her up. They're going to follow her career. And they're going to be like, oh, shit, I can't wait for her to fight again. And that's
right.
what happened with Billy Joe Saunders. I think it was
And Christy
Logan-
Martin.
Have
Have you guys seen that documentary?
Oh,
Christy
when
Martin
he
on
used to fight
Netflix?
under the Mike Tyson
She
cards.
fought on the Mike Tyson card, and people were like, "Oh, girls fighting."
The coal
And they
miner's daughter, dude.
And they were the fight of the night.
Yeah.
And that's when she blew up and started making mad cash.
There's a
And
documentary
like,
about that?
It's just
Yeah.
yes, it's on Netflix.
But then,
Untold.
okay, so say Jake Paul wins, right? It overshadows a lot of the storyline of the other fights, obviously. Then we're gonna be looking at another. For the next couple of months, he's calling out Canelo. He's calling out all that. Nobody's gonna give a crap about these other fighters
Not
unless
really,
you're
dude.
in the boxing community.
not really,
you're
because
not gonna give
when
a crap.
I think it was the Logan Paul KSI fight, they're two YouTubers, and like
But-
they fought on DAZN. They brought a lot of eyeballs, but again, like it was the undercards that people got to see who these guys were. They're like, because they're like anticipating the Logan Paul KSI fight. They're like, man, I want to watch this. And guys that would have never watched boxing, all of a sudden they see these other fighters and they're like, holy fuck, these two Puerto Ricans are beating the shit out of each other. You know, like
Yeah.
whatever it is. And they're like, fuck yeah, this is kind of cool. I think I might start watching boxing now.
No, and
And that's how it
both
happens.
of you
dude.
got solid points, but it's just again,
It's a double-edged sword.
right,
man.
it's a double-edged sword again. Yeah, because it could build some names. Because like now we get to see the other fighters in the card that have no names. If they put on great fights, guess what? They're gonna be called by other promotions to fight, and that's what's important for the other fighters that are on that same card.
And let's be honest, like if these guys that are true boxers were fighting as the main event, nobody's going to watch them.
Right.
The sad reality is nobody's going to watch them. But you put a Jake Paul, KSI, Logan Paul, whoever the fuck, Conor McGregor, you put them on the main event, people are going to buy it. Then they're going to see these undercards and they're going to say like, hey, I'm glad I got to see this.
They make more fans that way, you know. And a lot of these fights is because they want to see what's going to happen. You know what I mean? They know Jake Paul sucks at boxing. Everybody knows that shit, right? But everybody wants to see what's going to happen. Is he going to finally get knocked the fuck out like we all want? Because I know I want him to get knocked the fuck out.
Why is that? Why is that you want him to get knocked the fuck out?
Because I want him to realize, like, hey, you're fighting real fighters. Yeah. Finally. Eventually, when he starts, you know, like right now, Tyron Woodley has power.
Do you think he's disrespecting the sport? And that's why
I think he's disrespecting the sport at to a certain extent.
Why?
Because he's already calling out big name fights, and he's barely
like 3 fights.
What has he got? Three.
Yeah.
It's gonna be his third
right?
fight.
But can I like be the other guy?
Yeah. Of course.
So
Play devil's
I
advocate.
don't think he's disrespecting the sport. I think he's bringing a lot of awareness of what's dirty about the sport.
Right.
He's talked about like how Dana White makes millions of fucking dollars where these fighters are making fucking peanuts,
and that's one thing.
And he's already
Jake
exposed.
Paul.
And that's why Dana White hates him. Right. Because Dana White, he's a fucking billionaire and shit, and because on the backs of these fighters,
he makes more money than the fighters do.
Yeah, and Jake Paul is saying like, man, like you guys are getting fucked here.
Right.
At least when you fight me, Tyron Woodley's gonna make more money fighting me than he ever did in the UFC.
Yeah.
So
because
I don't think he's disrespecting the sport.
Right. In the business sense,
he's exposing the Bob Arums, the Dana Whites, the Golden Boys, both MMA and boxing because.
Right.
I mean, you said it yourself.
Right.
It's a dirty fucking sport, and I get fucked. Like I'm saying, you. You get fucked over being a cut man, and I think Jake Paul is exposing it, saying like these guys are, they're rats, bro.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, and then that's in that aspect. Yes, I believe he is one of the best promoters right now because he's promoting himself very, very well. He's getting all these fighters paid very, very well.
He's got a mascot.
And he's exposing the business for what it is, right?
Yeah.
But him to call himself, you know, calling out all these other fighters and like, you know,
that's disrespectful.
That to me is disrespectful, especially, you know what I mean? Like, how you gonna call out Canelo? I mean,
like
come on.
But it's like Canelo,
right?
You think
you're
Canelo
promoting
really?
yourself.
But
right,
you
he's
think
not gonna fight him?
Yeah,
right.
you think Canelo really gives two shits?
Right.
Canelo's over there. He's like, it's like when what's his
the
name?
Fact that this guy can say that I
Well,
called
it's like
out
when
Canelo.
McGregor
was not gonna fight.
Well, yeah, it's like
Same
it's like
thing.
when McGregor was jumping over.
Right.
McGregor's he's a fucking athlete. He's an MMA superstar and everything, but it's a different sport. And he was doing it, and a lot of boxers thought it was very disrespectful, analysts and everything.
But he still made like $55 million.
But like McGregor was saying, and like even now, McGregor calls his own shots, even in the UFC, even though he hasn't won a fucking fight since like 2016 or whatever.
Makes millions.
He calls his own shots.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you know that frustrates Dana White.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the UFC doesn't want independent fighters, you know? Mm-hmm. They want fighters that are going to go in the ring and they can fucking go in the cage and they can make money off of them. You know?
So here's the thing, though. What I was going to say was how Jake Paul's calling out all these boxers. And, yes, I'll agree that he's exposed how the promoters control everything. Mm-hmm. Because I think any true professional, especially like any professional boxer, would jump in because you have this pride like for the sport, and you'd be like, all right, fight me. Don't fight an MMA fighter in a boxing match.
Fucking boxer.
Fight.
Right.
That's what I'm mad about. It's like this guy.
I wish that Canelo could call his own shot and just say, okay,
let me
meet me 3 months from now. We'll do this.
Yeah.
Flagpole, 3:00.
Yeah.
Well,
I guarantee if they said nobody, this would never happen, obviously. Yeah. But
never ever say never.
Sell the fights, and nobody gets a check. It all goes like whatever. Let's see.
Well,
what do you?
Charity.
But here's the thing. That kind of already happened when McGregor was was called into a camp to like spar and everything with Paulie Malignaggi, and that video got exposed, and it wasn't supposed to, and that's what Malignaggi got fucking pissed about. because
Yeah, but
they
Malignaggi was told one thing. I mean, you could say one thing. He was told to go in there and spar with him.
Yeah.
And when somebody and you know, if you're sparring, yes, you're fighting, but you're fighting at a almost like a learning.
You're not going 100%.
You're not going 100%. And when
you're
that
not
next
supposed to.
person is going 100% and catches you off guard, of course, dude.
Yeah.
That's like in football or any sport that you're going half speed. One guy's going half speed and the other's.
Yeah,
You're gonna be like,
But-
what the?
Yeah, it's like they got the
And if
offense
there's
on
video
defense.
where you get hit or knocked down or whatever the case, and you're
So
getting,
would you say Mayweather's disrespecting the sport? Because he's already had about 3 spectacle
I say
fights.
Mayweather's contributed so much to the sport that
That
he-
it doesn't matter.
there's
what
no
the
way
fuck
yeah,
to
it
he
doesn't
take
does.
matter
that.
what he does.
Because the
And we
reason-
all know it.
Because the reason I'm asking, he already had the Conor McGregor fight, he had the Logan Paul fight, and then he fought like some kickboxer in Japan that weighed like a $112.
He was
And
undefeated, though.
and he beat the. He was what?
He was undefeated, though.
Yeah, but it was a fucking
But-
child he was fighting. You know.
and that
And it was
wasn't
just
even.
like
It
exposure,
did, and
just
that
like
one
how
did
we
it.
said.
But-
And that one was considered an exhibition
Yeah.
match,
Yeah.
so it didn't really
Yeah, it
count.
wasn't even.
So one thing about I'll use McGregor and Mayweather fight. The difference between that, I really do think that McGregor or that Mayweather was defending the sport opposed to making a farce out of it. I mean, yes, obviously they both made big bucks, and yes, but at no point in that fight was Mayweather ever in true danger. He toyed with him. If you know his career, he toyed with him. He knew he could take his punch, and he let him throw a couple, and then he showed off. And
I mean,
just
when he
him.
fought Logan Paul, he
Same thing.
held him up.
Yeah.
He held him up.
Yeah, he freaking knocked him.
Like same thing, and that's why when like Jake Paul was talking in the press conference, that saying, "Oh, my brother gave Mayweather." At what point did he give him any trouble?
But I think he's just
Selling it.
He's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
selling it. It's like Jake Paul is seeing this as a WWE promotion rather than boxing promotion, and that's the thing. If you're a boxing fan, you're not gonna purchase this fight of like who's the best, Tyron Woodley or Jake Paul.
Well, that's what Jake Paul's
but
good
going
at, right?
back
Is
to-
the drama.
Exactly.
Like that's
Right.
what
And
he
see,
yeah, but
does.
go-
Jake
building it
Paul,
up.
Jake
He's
Paul
building
is
it up.
just basically saying, "I'm gonna put on a fucking
Reality
an entertainment event."
Yeah.
He's not saying this is a true boxing event. He's not fighting a top 50 dude or anything.
But you're kind of
He's-
contradicting yourself because you were saying that he's exposing how they don't get recognition. If
He
you're
is.
really, then fight a true boxer.
Yeah.
A true boxer.
he doesn't
not,
need to though. He doesn't need to. That's what he's showing. He doesn't need to like fall into. Because here's the thing: if he's gonna fight a true boxer like any of these guys that are in the top 25, he's gotta fucking pay their promotions. He's saying, "Fuck those guys." Tyron Woodley doesn't have any connection with any of these Bob Arums, Golden Boys, or anything UFCs. No, he's saying, "Fuck those guys. We're gonna keep them out of it. You're gonna get paid, not those big heads." Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. But
So
you're
that's
saying
why-
he's exposing boxing when he hasn't fought a boxer.
Yeah.
No, but
That's like
You
me
understand
saying,
what I'm
that's like
saying,
me
right,
saying,
Trey?
I expose,
You understand
what you're
I
saying.
expose a soccer player, but I expose soccer, but I'm gonna
He's-
play
I'm
I'm
football.
gonna play
He's
against a
just-
basketball player.
no, he's just saying like, dude, you guys don't need to fall into the trap of so many.
And I
But
get
that's
that.
with
I
everything,
get
though.
that. Yeah,
I
but
mean,
like, yeah.
any professional sport, it's all that way. You got to pay
But
the heads,
the thing is,
talking
there's
heads.
there's really no outlet for the fighters to, they all have to get together,
yeah,
And
There's no players association for the fighters.
Right. And they all have to get together and put their foot down and be like, no, we're not going to fight. Like, pretty much go on a strike. But the bad thing about it is that they can get sued for money that they don't have.
yeah.
So they have to fight.
Well, it's
You know?
because you can't go individual until you've made it big.
Yeah.
Like De La Hoya, it took him, it took Mayweather. They had to go through the grind with other people calling the shots until they made it to a certain
But
point.
even then, like, De La Hoya doesn't even call his own shots. It's Golden Boy. Like, it's his promotion. Yes, you think of Golden Boy as De
yeah,
La
but
Hoya.
there's a board and
But
all that.
yeah,
stuff.
But he also has partners.
Yeah.
So
I just
mean,
feel like to call yourself a boxer, like in Jake Paul's case, like you have to fight a boxer.
I deep down inside, I don't think he's calling himself a boxer. He's just
he's
he's
toying
just-
with people,
yeah,
like
he's just
pissing
getting-
people off.
yeah,
like,
yeah,
It's
right.
trolling.
That's
Because
exactly what he's doing.
he's a troll.
He's
Yeah.
pissing
He's
people off.
famous
well,
for
he
that.
was born from the internet.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
He's
So-
a troll, and he has so many followers that
And he
Those are
makes
the ones
great
that
fucking
follow him.
content.
Are you gonna
dude.
watch that fight, Jerry?
He makes
No.
No.
Dude, have
He
you seen
does.
him on YouTube?
I'll watch it.
I'll wait for the
highlights.
highlights.
Yeah.
Dude, he's
No,
a
but if I-
fucking monster
yeah.
on YouTube.
He has a lot of followers for a
Yeah,
reason. I mean,
yeah,
he's,
exactly. I love watching his shit on YouTube. I
Right.
like watching when he was throwing shit at Conor McGregor's trainer. He's calling
Right.
people out. He takes Mayweather's hat. Like, dude, that is fucking
fucking
entertainment.
hilarious.
It's
Yeah,
the
it's
best.
hilarious.
It's a fucking clip that like gets played over and over. He knows what he's doing, and
Right.
it's awesome.
sometimes in those instances, I wonder if they're like staged a little bit. Like, does he tell him like,
Yes.
"Hey, I'm gonna mess with you"?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You know Mayweather was a part of that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Same thing with when Conor and Mayweather were going out. That's all
Yeah.
staged. You know, they know.
Like, and
they
even-
probably rehearsed it before
Yeah.
everybody
And then
went in
even,
there, you know what I
like,
mean?
even Tyron Woodley's in on it as well, because they were saying he's like naming all these guys, and then Tyron Woodley's like, oh, and these nuts or some shit. Like, dude, they're both like playing into it.
They know. It's
yeah.
all part of the game. You
It's
have to
fun,
sell
dude.
the fight.
It's fucking fun.
You know, you have to sell the fight, you know?
Going back to another fight that's coming up on September 4th, Jennifer Hahn's fighting in England.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a
It's
co-main
next week, right?
event with Lada and Warrington. That's their second fight. And it's not getting as much attention as what we were just talking about, Jake Paul and
Right.
Woodley fighting. But what do you think about Jennifer Hahn's chances? And
I think she has a great chance. Again, she's been out for what, like 2 years that she
Yeah.
hasn't fought. So those things do come in.
and
come
she had
into play.
another kid,
Yeah,
right?
she had
Yeah,
a
she
baby,
just
so.
she just had another baby. What they call and then what we like to call in the business the cage rust or ring rust.
yeah,
You haven't been in there for a while. That's why a lot of fighters like to be active. They try to get as many fights as they can, spar as much as they can for that reason. But yeah, no, I think of course she has a great chance. I mean, she's a great boxer. She has a lot of power. A lot of people don't know this, but
well, I was
'cause she's
surprised
so
when
little.
I talked to her one time. She was telling me that she spars with
guys.
all guys. Yeah, like
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
was saying that everyone she spars
Yeah.
with in cruises and
Yep.
all.
Yeah, it's all guys. Very few girls. Like I said, Ariana.
Uh-huh.
That girl, she was actually sparring with Jennifer Hahn, like maybe last week. So that's because they're about the same size.
Well,
And they both hit hard. They're very technical. My friend Johnny Guillen.
Yeah, Johnny.
She
Johnny.
spars with Jennifer
she
too.
told me
So
about Johnny. Yeah.
I think Jennifer has a really, really good chance.
Really?
You know.
Well, it's a uphill battle against Katie Taylor, who's
Yeah.
gold medalist, right? She was
Yeah.
gold medalist.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
She
And
holds
has
like four
she
titles
holds like
right
four
now.
titles. That's what Jennifer's fighting for.
When
For
is
those
this?
4 titles
It's on next Saturday.
next Saturday.
I saw
On
that.
the zone.
You
It's
look
on
I
the
think it's
zone.
on the zone.
Yeah,
it's on the zone.
That sounds dope.
It's gonna be in England too.
It's for
So-
the
And she's-
WBC,
and Katie is from
WBA,
England.
IBF.
Oh really?
So
Hometown,
Jennifer
huh?
Hahn's going over
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah.
So hopefully she won't leave it to the judges.
Enemy
Because usually
territory.
when you go to enemy territory, the judges tend to go for their person.
Yeah,
for
well,
their,
she
their fighter.
I say Jennifer knocks her out.
this is a good
Yeah.
opportunity. It kind of shows like she still has that respect, even though she's been out of the game for about a couple of years.
Yeah.
It shows that she's still a respectable fighter to
Yeah.
get this opportunity.
Of course, and she has Louis Burke too. So that's Louis Burke out of Las Cruces. It's always been a big name, very respectable, and Louis Burke is a really nice guy.
You
I've
gonna
met
be
him.
watching that fight?
I will definitely watch that fight.
It's like at 2, because it's
Is
like
it?
England.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
different
Like
time.
2 in the morning.
Yeah.
or-
Time.
No,
for-
it's in the afternoon,
in
right?
the
Yeah.
afternoon. Yeah.
I was
But,
gonna ask you.
Watch
so
party.
watch party.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Watch party.
should. We could do another
Commentary.
one. Possible.
You guys should have a watch party.
Well,
man.
you
That
gotta
would- that would
you
be
gotta
awesome.
come sit
Jerry,
in. If
come
you're
in.
not doing
Yeah,
anything,
Let's
you
go.
gotta
When-
come sit
next
in. man.
weekend.
You can
Yeah.
be our
Yeah.
cut man for watching.
Shit.
All right.
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, I don't think
I'm
anyone's
down.
getting cut, but you can
You,
could
never know. There's glass somewhere.
you could fucking start just rubbing fucking whatever it is, Vaseline on our foreheads and shit, make us all
If we
shiny.
get, if we
I can't
get
do
drunk
next
enough,
week,
I'll
dude.
just be like, Jerry,
Huh?
just fucking cut me.
Why?
Just fucking
I
do
have
it.
plans.
Cut me, Mick.
Oh, Peter has plans.
Well, you
Uh-oh.
have plans too. You're going.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
What is the
Uh-oh.
plans?
post
All
it.
of a sudden, you got plans that you didn't know about.
I know. Right? Shit.
We're gonna watch the fight over somewhere else.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh, culeros.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
You don't
Jerry.
even remember.
Hey, Jerry, you want to
I
come?
don't remember.
Hey, you want to come to our party, Jerry?
Hey, you guys are all invited. Come.
Go on, Jerry.
We'll just take the studio over there.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll just set up cameras and all.
Nah,
We'll
fuck
set it up over there. Let's go. I'm down.
Shit.
Fuck it, let's go to London.
I mean, I'm gonna
Let's
watch
go
the fight.
London.
It's just I don't know. We could do the watch party or the calling the fight.
I have my lavalier mics throwing it
There
back
you go,
old school.
we'll do it.
Get the wire hangers, baby.
Old school, baby.
The roller.
Yeah, the
The
ruler.
ruler.
Yeah, the ruler.
I think it's only 6 inches now because it broke it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Same.
But same. Now, what do you like doing more, MMA or boxing of the two sports?
MMA, you definitely get more work because of,
Oh, yeah.
you know, the kicks, the knees, the elbows. You know, it's bone on bone. So you're always going to get more cuts, more
Yeah.
fractures in that sense. But I like doing both.
Yeah.
You know, because it's pretty much the same thing no matter where you go, if it's boxing or MMA.
Yeah.
And for MMA, it's just harder to get into because most a lot of the shows, they already have their cutmans, you know. So
And how do you do that? Do you put like a request form or like?
yeah,
how-
you just hit up you call promoters, you know, if you know they don't have cutmans, you hit up the promoter and you offer your services, you know, and they, you know, I follow a lot of them so they get to see my page, they get to see how I wrap hands, they get to see that I have experience.
You want to throw out your page really quick?
Yeah, it's at Cutman_Burgos on Instagram. You guys can follow me on there. I have tutorial videos as well. If you guys want to learn how to wrap hands, DM me. I can also do one-on-ones. I can go to you guys anybody's gym and teach you guys how to properly wrap hands. I'm all about teaching. I wanna try to get as many people as I can and to wrap proper hands. You know, a lot of trainers out there, they think they know because they've been in the business for a long time, but
They have no idea.
they have no clue how to do it. You know, and a lot of people are like, but why do you put instructional videos? Why not? You know, I'm all about making sure that the fighters, you know.
Well,
Even
just-
if I don't
Yeah.
even get props, because
Well,
I know there's some trainers out there that have watched my videos 100 times already, and they wrapping hands just like mine. If you watch their pictures and how they're wrapping hands, they look just like mine. They're actually using the same tape that I use.
But they don't have your touch.
You want to call them out, Jerry? We have
I'm not gonna say no name because they all know, but
We're watching you. Just let you know.
You know who you are.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
we
can
know
watch. We could watch boxing all day.
And-
It doesn't necessarily mean we know how to
Right.
fight. You know.
So, but no, you guys, whoever wants to learn how to wrap hands, if you want to, if you want to learn how to wrap hands, DM me. I'm happy to work with you guys. If you guys need me to work your corners, please hit me up. As well as, if you, since I'm I want to give a shout out to World Cutman's Association as well. Follow them at World Cutman's Association on Instagram. We're also allowed to have apprentice. So if anybody's interested in learning the
Nice.
art of
Damn.
being a cutman and wrapping hands and coming with me and
Yeah.
learning to work some shows and some fights, I will do that as well too.
It's like, yo,
Just,
Jerry, what do you need me to do? He's like, hold this shit. and I'm like, okay.
It's legit shit. You're like, fuck.
It's all like just fucking going through your.
This shit sucks.
I'm learning.
You know, because a lot of people think
not
they
getting
can do
paid
it,
for
but there's
Yeah.
standards to this.
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course.
some of the things that really bother me, it's when you see a guy with 15 cotton swabs touching their sweaty arms. You know, I hate that. You know,
Yeah.
or they're not wearing gloves. Like some of the old school guys, I got a lot of respect for them, but please wear gloves, man. You're not only protecting yourself, but you're also protecting the fighter. You know, if you can put something in their cut that gets infected, and you know that's gonna get stitched later. So you want to keep those wounds as clean as possible. If you guys watch some of my pictures, I have my Cutman wristband that has my thing with the Vaseline in it. And then I wear a sweatband all the way up to here, and I barely have maybe 1 or 2 Q-tips. I try to keep it in my baggie. I won't pull them out until I need it. And I'm always wearing gloves. You will never see me without gloves.
Trying to keep everything sterile.
Everything as clean and sterile as possible. So if you guys, if whoever wants to learn, want to be an apprentice, please DM me at Cutman Burgos, and I'll be happy to teach you how to do it. And I'll even take you guys, whoever wants to learn, whenever I have a show. We can go and learn some stuff. And
that'd be fucking fun, actually.
You guys actually can see it, because that's there's people in England, there's teams in England, there's teams in Germany, and there's teams in Ireland that are doing that. They're getting kids to be apprenticeship, and they put them in the shows, and they're starting to learn the world of Cutman. It's very underrated. It's a very underrated job. We don't get as much clout, as much attention as a lot of these guys should. There's so many great cutmans and cut women out there. If you're in Canada, if you're in Canada or any part of the world, and you want to learn how to do this, hit me up. I will get you connected with somebody anywhere in the world. That's part of being in this organization, the World Cutmen's Association. We have people from all over the world who are professionals. We all have standards, pretty much the same standards.
What would you say is more important in the fight game? Getting those hands protected, or the ability to close like any kind of wound, or like trying to bring down the swelling? Like if you had to choose between those two.
It was really playing devil's advocate today.
No, and they're great questions.
No, because I'm asking, like, some guys, they will
die
say,
by fire or by water.
No, because some guys, they're badass at, sealing things up, bringing down swelling, and then some guys are just Mayweather talks about, what's his name? He just passed away, didn't he? Mayweather's Cutman, the one that would
Mr. Bodak.
That guy, Mayweather would not trust anybody with his hands. Because Mayweather, like, people don't know this. When people say, like, oh, Mayweather, he just dances around and everything. Early in his career, he was a knockout artist. The reason he had a change was because he was constantly breaking his hands. And it wasn't until later on he met up with this guy, and this guy took care of his hands and everything. So Mayweather, later on in his career, he said, like, I'm never going to trust anybody else with my hands. And to Mayweather, that was the most important thing, because one, he doesn't even fucking get hit.
Those are his money makers right there, bro.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
That's a good question.
But then you would see like a guy like, say, Arturo Gotti, right? That guy needs a fucking cut man, because that's how he makes his money. Yeah. He goes in there, he goes to war. He's fucking exactly. Yeah. So he needs someone that's gonna seal up the wounds.
So that's a valid question, and I'm glad you asked. Because I believe, first of all, to be a good cutman, to call yourself a good professional cutman, you got to be able to do both. Because I've seen it. I've seen some shows that they have a cutman, but does not know how to wrap hands. Doesn't even wrap hands. He just shows up, works the show as a cutman, and leaves. Yeah. But to get to the point of the question, I believe the most important part is wrapping your hands. You have to protect your tools. Those are your tools. That's how you're knocking people out. It doesn't matter if you can't stop a bleeding, that's going to happen. That's part of the game. There's going to be times where you can't do nothing about the cut. You can't do nothing about a swelling. Actually, swellings tend to be worse than a cut. They'll stop a fight faster for swelling than a cut. Yeah. But that also comes with experience, knowing how to use your cold press. But the most important thing for me is learning how to wrap hands properly, and that's why when you do certain classes and certain seminars, the longest part of the seminar is wrapping hands. You need at least 8 hours. A whole day to teach proper hand wrapping, because especially when I teach you have to wrap. The first thing we do is you wrap your own hand. You're gonna sit there, and everybody's gonna wrap their own hand first.
Like one-handed? You're just
one-handed.
Oh shit!
One-handed, just like in my instructional video, I teach. I have it on my Instagram. Anybody can watch it. I wrap my own hand, and I go slowly, step by step, explaining why I do what I do, and anybody can watch it.
How good are you at tying a tie? Do you know that wins or not?
You know what? I don't even know.
You know that wins or not?
That's crazy, right? I know how to wrap hands, but I don't know anything about doing ties.
Oh man!
Make a tie out of wrap.
But and then after
He's
that,
like, I can stop your bleeding with the tie.
and then after, you everybody pairs up, and then you wrap each other's hands.
Oh, okay.
All right. So when Peter fights RuPaul and he gets a nasty ass cut over, what's ideal? Where do you want that cut? Is it underneath the eye? Is it on the bridge of the nose? What is it like?
You want
if Peter gets cut over the eye, are you like, oh shit, we're fucked? Where's the ideal cut?
Well, there's really no ideal cut. You don't want to get cut at all.
Don't get cut, Peter.
Peter's like,
With
fuck.
those big ass nails.
Yeah. Fucking werewolf, bro.
Fucking just
Like a
starts whipping
tiger.
you with her wig and everything.
Like a tiger.
But the whole point of stopping, one of the points is to avoid blood to go into the eye.
Okay.
So because then that's
Fair.
you know
Blurry
you
vision,
can't see,
can't
and then they'll stop the fight because you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
see. And I don't know if any of you have gotten any blood in your eye, but that thing just you can't see anything, and
Yeah.
it burns like
Yeah,
hell.
It stings like a motherfucker.
So you know if you get a cut here, you know great. If it happens to be a cut,
Where would you want to be cut, Peter, if you had to?
Because then it doesn't go into the eye. But like I said, that's why the cuts right here are some of the worst cuts, and like right here too.
Fuck.
And a couple of weeks ago, there was an MMA fight where the guy T.J. Dillashaw, when he came back, he had a cut right here, and Cutman Tate did a great job at stopping the bleeding because it was gonna go. It was gonna go.
Yeah.
Just a tear.
And the doctor should have stopped it, but the Cutman did so good that they didn't stop it, and T.J. Dillashaw got the win.
Yeah.
Do you know what he did, like to like help stop that bleeding?
He
Was it
just
the epi?
used we either used 2 cotton swabs or roll
Some gauze or
a
something.
gauze, a thick gauze, and then he just used epinephrine,
Dude, that's so crazy that epi.
and then he
it
just puts pressure on it, and then the Vaseline is supposed to be cold. That's why they put it on their
it just hardens
hands, because it starts melting it a little bit, because it's supposed to be at a like a silly putty
Yeah.
consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you guys a secret that only cut.
No, don't tell us.
We can mute this part.
That's okay. No,
tell us off
it's
there.
okay. It's okay because there's other stuff that we can use, but
Just
we mix epi into the Vaseline as well. So once we plug that in, there's epi in
I thought
there.
you were gonna say like Clorox or something.
No, there's
Just to
other
clean
stuff
it
that
up
you
real
can
quick.
put that are legal.
It's like I get Play-Doh and shit.
It's like,
Because you
I
can't
get
put
ketchup.
everything, just anything in there.
Super glue.
Fucking
So,
Tabasco.
and that's what they
That's
did.
why it burns like a motherfucker.
And since we're talking about back cut, Gypsy King, what's his name?
Tyson
Tyson
Fury.
Tyson Fury.
I was like, Gypsy King,
remember-
talking to me?
That fight where he had that back cut on his eyebrow. Nobody knew who Jorge Capetillo was till that fight.
He closed
Made a
Right?
name for himself.
He made a name for himself, and the cut was so big, he was rolling gauze, making it thick, because a cotton swab is too small.
Mm-hmm.
But some people use 2, 3 of them. But the best bet for cuts like that is roll a big old thick, roll the gauze as thick as possible, and soak it on epi or.
How much epi are you allowed per fight?
It depends. You can have 3, 4 bottles, 5, 6 bottles. You can have them all.
As long
Use them
as
all.
it's of that consistency.
It's approved,
right?
and as long as the commission approves it, and it's in the bottle.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to New York, you got to have a brand new bottle for each fighter. So if I only used a little bit for, let's say, for
You
Abel,
can't use it again.
I can't use that same bottle for you. I got to put it
Damn.
away. I can save it for later, but I have to open a brand new one. That's another $300.
Fuck.
Just
Don't get
you
fucking
know, so
cut,
it just depends,
Yeah.
So again,
So
you
Peter's
gotta
not
love-
gonna fight in New York.
you gotta love. You gotta, like I said, you gotta love this, because all this equipment, all the medications, like epi alone costs $300 to $400 a bottle. So imagine the Avatine and the Thrombin that cost way more.
What is that?
And those are other medications that we use to stop bleeding.
So like the epi, like you said, it doesn't cauterize wound, but it just stops.
It just closes it shrinks
The wound.
the
blood cells
Blood
or-
vessels.
the blood vessels.
That's fucking crazy, dude. That's
If you didn't
badass.
show up late, you would have
constricts.
known
Yeah,
this.
you're
It
asking
constricts the
questions
blood
that he
vessels.
already.
I'm sorry.
Talked
No,
about.
I was there for that. I just wanted to make sure that that's what
You know,
that's.
and
what
then
it
there's
was.
other tricks that you could do, other stuff you can mix.
Weapon
and
reference
use.
like
It's like for fucking like nasal spray and shit.
no
Yeah, it's depending on the consistency.
allergic reactions.
Because
Yeah.
there's
Like
some that are
EpiPens?
to
Yeah.
raise your heart rate
Yeah.
when you're dying,
That's what
and
Abel
then
has.
there's some that are in the EpiPens, like for allergic reactions, and then there's other ones that are for other things. But the ones that are legal, that are even under AIBA and USAIDA, it's Epi 1000, and that's very common. A lot of people use it.
Fucking
for
just want to get
results.
cut now just to see
So-
what it feels like.
All right, so if the
He's not gonna
All right.
spend $300 on you, dude.
how about
I'll give
I'm
you
gonna,
150.
I'm gonna give you a scenario.
I'll take an empty bottle.
Yeah, give me an empty one.
Golden Boy calls you, Top Rank, or the UFC.
Or
Those three, or the cartel. Which one are you going with?
Definitely the UFC.
I don't know the
Wrong,
cartel.
wrong answer. Wrong answer. It's the
Saying-
cartel.
Yeah, the cartel has a lot more connections.
Yeah.
The
cartel-
Y'all
the
trying to
cartel-
get me murdered,
The
man.
cartel probably runs all three of them.
Yeah, no, exactly. So either way, I'm still
Dana White's
we'll
like,
be in
"Please
the same
no."
in the right spot either way.
Yeah, just have friends in
They're
all
like,
places.
Do you run into any like fighters that are just superstitious? Like they want their left hand type first, rather than the right, or
Yes.
Yeah.
They want
for-
a chicken claw in
Do
there.
Yeah,
you
like-
have any
So-
superstitions?
no,
Like
I don't
before?
have any superstitions, but some fighters
left
like
sock first, right?
I've
sock?
heard this. Speed over power. So if you're a righty, they want their left hand first, right? And then they'll want their right hand tighter
Last.
and more tape.
That's crazy.
And it also, again, you have to learn all these things. It's not just wrapping a hand. You also have to see if the fighters
Injury?
have had injuries, so you have to tape it differently. You got to add certain things to the padding that
I
are
think I
legal.
want to be a
So-
cut man, dude. I'm
you know,
So
kinda down.
how are you gonna
So-
wrap Peter's hands because he doesn't have speed or power?
He's got calves.
So it doesn't matter which
He's
hand I
gonna
wrap.
put-
So
He's gonna put something in there. Start moving.
Sock him, robot.
just tape beer cans to his
Beer Khalees.
Yeah. He's gonna do Edward
40 hands.
with some padding on his knuckles.
Yeah.
He's gonna come out the tunnel. People are gonna be like,
Brace
"What the fuck
myself.
is Peter doing?" You're not supposed to fight like that, Peter.
Drunk, crazy.
Belligerent.
Dude,
Borracho.
this is a fucking
Borracho Pete.
this is a cool world, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad you like reached out to us because I never knew like I mean I'm a fan of boxing. Peter and I have been watching boxing since we were little, man. But this is something totally different because when you think of boxing, of course everyone knew who Stitch was, right?
Right.
Like a lot of people just through the UFC as well as seeing him
Movies.
in movies, boxing corners. He even comes out in that movie with
Yeah,
Woody
he's
Harrelson.
he's been in several movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Creed,
well, oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Both of them.
All right, so
Rocky, the last Rocky.
but like this little episode that we're doing here, it's really cool. I mean, it's quite fascinating. But let's go to the movies when there's that scene in Creed where he needs to like take a shit. And I think I asked you last time, have you come into situations like that? You're wrapping a guy's hand, maybe he needs to take a shit, a piss, or he needs to throw up or something. Because I think the rule is like if he leaves to go take a shit, like you got to redo
No.
do it, or the commission has to
The
go
commission goes with
with and
him.
see him take a shit,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, so
Pretty
you
much.
can do that? You can go
You
leave
can.
and take a shit?
Yes. Once you get
Somebody
your
gotta
hands
watch
wrapped,
you.
No way.
the commission they go with you.
So like say
So-
round 5, like
Hey,
I'm
every
like,
no,
time
no,
that you
not
go
in
to a
the fight.
restroom and
Oh,
I look
the
at
fight.
you,
Yeah.
you get mad.
I was
not
like,
not
no.
during
So
the
you can't
fight.
go.
I was like during the fight.
During the fight,
imagine
you
like
just shit yourself.
yeah, imagine
No.
during you're like
No, no.
round
'Cause
five,
not
like,
during
bro.
the fight.
Because I was gonna
I
ask
gotta
you
get
like
shit.
Before
what
the fight.
during the oh, come on.
He
thought it
just
was
shit
during the
himself.
Hey, these are valid questions. I'm just asking.
Have you ever seen a boxing match?
That's why I was saying like you
Just
can
go
do
off.
that. That's why I was saying. I was
Give me a
confused.
second. So Jerry, do
Put
you
the bucket.
do you
Yeah.
lace up the gloves too for them?
Just like I got.
Yes, we're
Okay.
supposed to lace them ourselves or the trainer.
Okay.
Depending, but usually we
What-
lace them up and we tape them as well.
Once they're laced and taped,
You're
You're ready to
that-
go.
you're
That's-
ready to
you're-
go.
That's like
Commission-
you're
commission
about to
put-
walk out to
They
your
put the
fight.
X's on the
Yeah.
gloves and they
Yeah.
say you're good to go, bud.
have you ever had to like, somebody's like, dude, fucking rewrap me because
Yeah,
like something nature calls or whatever.
Luckily, I've never had to, but if you got to go to the bathroom while your hands are wrapped, that's what you got to go. You know, just don't get anything on the wraps.
On the wraps.
But that's
Do you guys
but
think
it
you guys
happens.
can
It
wipe your
happens.
ass?
Jerry's like, you know how much fucking money is in your hands
I mean,
right
no,
now?
but if anything happens, because for championship fights, the other trainer, the trainer of the opponent, can come and watch the fights. I mean, watch you
your
wrap
wraps.
hands. So even if you're and this happens no matter what, even if you're the cut man for a specific fighter or you're the cut man for the organization, if the opponent's trainer is not happy with those hand wraps,
They redo.
they can be, I want you to
Yeah,
redo
we've
them.
seen that before.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
and,
again,
and so you just
Mosley.
cut it.
Mosley's trainer.
Yeah.
He saw him, how
Yeah,
they were
but
doing
that was because he was
Margarito and
cheating.
everything. Yeah,
he
yeah.
was actually cheating.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
have you ever encountered any kind of cheating? You don't have to name anyone, but
No.
have you
Name somebody.
Not me. I haven't really seen any.
no horseshoes going into a
No,
glove?
and that's and again,
Highway
and that's
horseshoe.
why the commission watches now. That's why they have a commission.
Yeah.
Like the commission checks my padding, the knuckle padding. They see me unroll it. They see me cut it.
Yeah, it's all.
They see me.
It's
You
got
know,
metal
I'll show
fibers
'em.
in it and shit.
Yeah, I give it to them. They touch it. They look at it, and even after they're done, they always look at it. That's why most commissions you can only use white tape
Oh, it's easier.
because it's easier. If you put anything on there, like any solution, it's gonna turn turn brown or brownish
Well, that's what
color.
Margarito
So-
was doing.
And
right?
that's why you can't cover the knuckles too.
That tape you were using last time, it was like black and
It
orange.
was black. Yeah, it was black. And that's for
So
training.
that's just training
Yeah.
purposes only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a
But-
gym. That's what they call it, a gym tape.
I tell you, man, it lasted.
for-
I used it for like
for
2 months.
amateur boxing, they let me use that black tape.
Gross.
Oh, okay.
You know, but you know, they all, like I said, they watch, they'll.
But of course,
touch,
they
look
know
at
the
it.
brands. They're like, oh,
Right. A
he's
lot
using-
most of the commissions, they already know the brands, so they're like, oh, he's using this, you know, this type of a brand. So they're okay with it. They're already like, oh, okay. And again, they're watching, you know, and commissions and most commissions, which it should be every commission, when you show up with a bag, they inspect your bags.
It's like TSA.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, so there's certain stuff that you are not allowed to have. Like I know in New Mexico, and I believe Texas as well do it. Every time I come in, I have to have a brand new Vaseline.
Oh shit.
It has to be brand new. So even if I used a little bit, I can't use it the next time. So because of that, because people will mix prior to.
What do you use
Yeah.
up all the
Stuff.
half-empty Vaseline?
Yeah.
You,
I
you
buy
go
the
to your
shallow
house, you have
size or
half
what?
that.
nope.
Dude,
I have a.
why do
I
you
have
think
a
he's
trick.
so shiny, man?
I have a.
Just lathers
That's
him
because I'm
up.
sweating my ass off. But
Oh,
I'm
for
just
real.
kidding.
For real.
But no. I have a trick where I put. Anybody can use it. I put whatever. I'll refill like from one to the other.
Yeah.
I'll put it outside, let it melt so it evens out,
Oh, look at.
and then I'll put it. Shit, I might have. Well, anyways.
Don't
then
worry,
I
nobody
put it-
listens.
And
This
then,
shit.
and then I put it in the fridge,
Boxing committee's like.
and then it
okay.
cools off, and it just looks brand
Yeah.
new. And then you know,
They're like, this expired in 1978.
consolidation. I wasn't even alive in 1978.
Vintage, bro.
Vintage bottle.
Fucking-
It's a glass.
this
that's
brand got
weird.
discontinued in like 2008 and shit.
It's
It's
like
like,
unopened.
I just
It's
bought it
unopened,
last
bro.
week. I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
It says that's a lube on it.
That's another trick that you guys can, you know, if you guys need
KY.
to look
KY
new.
jelly.
So, but yeah, like I said, commissions they check. You know, there's certain stuff that
Yeah.
they're not gonna let you have
That's
in the
funny.
back. So especially if they know you, a lot of especially in New Mexico, I've been working under New Mexico for so long in Texas that
Yeah.
they see me and a lot of the times they don't even check
Yeah.
because they know, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they know I'm part of the
Yeah.
World Cutmen's Association.
Yeah,
so
there-
we
there's
have
a
standards.
reputation
Well, yeah,
and
So
standards
and then
everything.
you know you build your rep, you build, you know, they know, like sometimes like there's times where I've sent in my paperwork late, right? But I have a fight that Saturday.
Yeah.
I'll go up to the head of the commission and they know me so well.
Yeah.
I'll tell them, hey man, I already sent the paperwork.
Yeah.
I sent the money in,
How-
everything, and they're like, Oh, okay, here, boom. And
How
they'll
mu-
still let me work the show because they know that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, they trust that
Yeah.
I'm doing it. You
Well,
know?
well, that's what I was gonna ask you. Like, how much pull does the association that you're a part of have? Because like they know who you are and stuff, and they know you're a part of this association. You obviously gotta take care of your reputation because you're not only representing yourself, you're also representing them. So,
Right.
is it important to be in an association when you are a Cutman?
It's not necessary, but I recommend it
Yeah.
because it helps. You know, it helps because it shows that you're actually validated. You know, you have the experience. Because it's not, you can't just be like, hey, I want to join.
Yeah.
No, you gotta show them pictures. Somebody else has 2 or 3 people have to vouch for you.
Like references. and
Yes,
all
you
that.
got to have those references. You know, they got to see that that's why I put so many pictures of my
Yeah.
hand wraps and my work, because they have to see it, you know. And sometimes they'll even ask you to go and do an internship with them,
Yeah.
you know, and then they'll be like, oh, where you live at? Like right now, if anybody, like I said, says, oh, I want to join the World Cutman's Association, what they'll probably do is, if they're in this area, they'll send them to me. And then I have to evaluate them.
like a rep.
Yeah, and I have to evaluate them. I have to, make sure that they're legit, that they know how to wrap hands. They know how to,
Jerry's like the Veronica Escobar of
like-
fucking
like-
El Paso
like me,
fucking
Mr.
Cutman Association over here. He's a rep.
Yeah, like 2 people. Like for me to join the World Cutman's Association, 2 people vouched for me. Was Dr. Zamorano from Mexico, because I did one of his seminars, and he saw how I was wrapping hands, and he saw that I already had some experience prior to.
Yeah.
And then also Mr. Harley Riddle, he's out of Kansas, here in the States, and he's the head of the United States. So I had to send my information to him, and he also has videos he's sponsored by Title, and has videos. He's worked in Bellator. He's worked with so many other boxers, and he has videos on hand wrapping as well on YouTube. And those 2 people vouched for me to be into the World Cutman's Association, and it took me like 2 or 3 years trying to get into those associations before I could get in.
That's fucking bad.
You know, trying to talking to them and showing them, and and you have to, like,
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to pretty soon here help out Dr. Zamorano on one of his seminars. He wants to fly me down there so I can help teach, because I'm also bilingual. So that also helps.
Let's hear that. Let's hear that sexy Puerto Rican accent.
No, you're not gonna hear it. Just speak to me in Spanish.
I thought you were German.
Yeah, you got to say
I
something.
thought you were German.
I thought you were German.
I was following your Instagram since the last time you came in, and I saw that it was maybe like a month ago or 2 months ago. You were in Utah,
Yeah.
and you're just like kind of showing it off. You talked about like how you're, I believe, in 8 states. You said
Yeah.
right now.
Just about.
Where are some of the coolest places you've been being a Cutman?
Mexico, I want to say, because it's beautiful.
Because the cartel.
Yeah, the cartel.
It's like they pay good.
No, those were fun trips. But Colorado, I love going to Colorado. It's beautiful up there. And Utah, that was my first time going up there,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I mean, it
Utah's
was beautiful. I mean, it was great. I loved it. Great weather. I mean, Las Vegas, of course, was another awesome place I went to, because that's when I actually got to go into the UFC Performance Institute, and I got to go into the Apex.
That place is
and
fucking massive, isn't it?
yeah, they're especially the Performance Institute. It's huge, and I got to see all that and be around Valentina Shevchenko and Antonina Shevchenko and their coach. I got to learn so much from their coach and how they work and how they train.
Yeah.
That it was just amazing. I was hoping I could wrap her hands, but she doesn't wrap her hands to train.
Oh no.
So yeah, she trains without
She's
any
a
hand
savage.
wraps. Yeah, she's a savage. Like I'm telling you, she has to be like some sort of KGB operative or something. Like that girl,
She's
that
black.
girl can do anything.
She's
I mean,
Black Widow,
she'll
dude.
murder you. Yeah, she's like the Black Widow.
Yeah.
Like For real, like there's a reason why Halle Berry freaking hired her for her new movie. That it's about MMA. That
Halle Berry's got a new movie
coming out where she's an MMA fighter, and I
Halle
think
Berry?
52
Halle
years
Berry.
old.
Talking about fucking
Yeah.
people staying in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
game too long.
Oh, but hey, a lot of people don't
Give me the
realize there's a
fucking
lot of famous actors that are like black belts in jiu-jitsu and stuff.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You know, like Keanu Reeves, you know, that guy trains in multiple, that guy can shoot. Have you guys
Yeah,
seen his
yeah,
videos of
yeah.
him
Fucking
shooting?
John Wick, dog.
Like
That
for
guy's
John
fucking
Wick,
savage.
like all that stuff, he had to train for it, and like he's legit.
Yeah.
You know, there's, you know, so those were really, really good experiences for me. And, you know, want to give a shout out to some of the Cutmans that I look up to.
Oh, I thought he was going to say, I want to give a shout out to
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves,
The one.
Yeah.
the Rock, John Cena.
What's one of your favorite fighting movies? Like, what's a
Fighting-
movie that you
Good
could?
one, Anthony. Good one.
Man, there's so many of them. You know, I like Creed because it's like a newer version.
Okay.
You know, and they actually show, you know, some people that I know that have worked there, some extras from Las Cruces. Because, you know, there's a part, the part where they're out in the desert training,
Uh-huh.
that was here. They
shit.
filmed in Cruces.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
filmed
Shit, I
in
knew
Cruces.
that.
And
Michael Jordan was here? Cruises?
Michael B.
Yeah,
Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, he's the B
Let's
version.
get it.
huh?
Let's
Okay.
get it.
I
Let's
forgot.
Hey,
get it.
have you seen Space Jam? The new one?
No.
Ah, dude.
that
You got to
part-
watch it, man.
That shit's
No.
so
That
funny.
part was
He's not Michael
fucking-
Jordan. I'm sorry.
No, but that part was fucking hilarious.
Dude, yeah, I was like, I lost my shit for a second. I was like, is
Yeah.
Michael Jordan really gonna come out in this movie? And then it was,
and then it's Michael B. Jordan.
I was like- and I
It was
like-
funny. It
I
was
The
funny.
wrong Jordan.
Yeah.
It's the wrong
He's got
Jordan.
popcorn. Like, oh,
Nah, man.
But no, I like the Here Comes the Boom because it's
Ooh, Here Comes
not
the Boom.
only
That's a
not
good
only
one.
it's hilarious,
yeah, that's just funny.
but they
it's
actually
That's
like
Kevin
you know what
James,
I
right?
mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they show like the UFC and
I heard he
The good
trained like
training.
really hard for
yeah,
that.
he did. He
Like,
actually trained for.
Well, I heard he's a badass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very athletic for a big dude, man. He can
So
fight.
am I.
They call him Kevin the Rock James.
B Jordan.
Kevin the Rock B. Jordan James.
Have you ever had like a Rocky moment when a fighter's like, cut me?
No,
Cut me,
Jerry. That is like the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
That's not what
You're
we do
supposed
at
to
all.
fix cuts, not make
Yes,
cuts.
exactly. That's that's like a
What are you
joke between the Cutmans because
Yeah.
like that's like the opposite of what you want to do. You know?
Is that's he's like
so
that's
far
the,
fetched.
that's the first video they show in like the seminars. It's
Do
like
not
cut me,
what
Nick,
to
and then-
do.
and
Or
then
like,
it's
or like Million
never
Dollar
do
Baby, where,
Yeah.
or like $1 Million Baby when he's like, "Let him hit you." No, dude, let him hit you.
It's like, put the stool in there. There's no more stools ever allowed.
I was about to ask him like, has he had $1 million baby like in his career
I
where somebody
wait.
comes up and they're like,
They
hey,
trip on the
will
stool.
you train? Will you train me? And then like he's like, oh man,
I actually
gotta train
have,
him.
by
Yeah.
the way.
Oh,
yeah, where you're just like, man, I don't know, man, but
Like,
you
you're 42 years old.
You're Halle Berry. I don't think you can do this.
It's like, bro, you're literally like the Rudy of fucking boxing. And
hey, you never know, bro. Rudy
He's
really
like-
did his thing.
He's like, I actually have. You asked me at the beginning of the show.
All right. So I always ask this question when we have like a guest, but who are you choosing to train?
That's what we did last
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
right?
But like you don't have
hey,
those other
I'm
guys in the
hey,
studio.
I'm still going with the vet.
You're going with the vet?
man.
All right.
You
Against
know,
RuPaul.
I gotta go.
Ju-
I gotta
just
go
because
with the vet.
just because you saw his legs or what?
Yeah, bro. That's what Mondo was looking at last time.
Yeah.
bro.
Hey, I'm telling you, after you
Hey,
wrap my
And then
hands-
whatever
you know what
extra
they say.
Vaseline you have, you can rub it on
Hey,
his legs.
you know that's what they say.
We
You know
might
what they
need more
say, bro,
Vaseline.
and it's true. Hey, the power comes from your legs, man.
There you go.
Power comes from your legs, man.
Damn,
From
I
in
need to get-
between your legs.
The joke is in there.
Not the third leg, the other leg.
No, but for real though, after you wrapped my hands, I went home and I was like hitting the bag. I sent videos to them. I'm like,
yeah, it's
He was listening to Eminem.
I used them for like 2 months after. And
He's
then I
all
was
punching the
like,
mailman.
They were
and the
getting grody.
stray
though.
dogs.
They were
and-
getting grody
All
after 2
stinky.
months. They were like, my wife's like, throw them away. Yeah. What's wrong with you?
Like your son would act up, and you're like, God damn it.
I'm gonna put the glove on.
Don't make me put it in the lap.
He's like Thanos over there.
Yeah.
He's got
Don't make me
all
snap.
5 rings.
Yeah.
Don't make me call Gerry.
You go fix you up when I'm done with you.
Like he was all telling his kids, he's like, Jerry's coming in studio today.
Poor kids
You
scaring
just
him.
wait.
He's gonna wrap my hands
You
again.
just wait.
You're gonna get the fucking epi.
Instead of like this, it's like this.
Don't call him.
No padding, Jerry. No padding.
Just strictly the back.
Poor kids are all traumatized now. They hear the name Jerry. They're gonna be all scared.
I know.
One of these days, I'm gonna get to meet your kids and get them run away.
Yeah, they're like, I fucking
They're
hate that guy,
scared.
Jerry.
Hey, how young do you start them if they wanted to be a apprentice? I'll send you my oldest, man.
Yeah.
I'll send you my oldest.
As long as they tall enough, you know.
Oh, he's
and-
tall enough.
Oh, he's like
taller
6
than me.
He's like 6 foot.
Yeah, they can start learning in 10.
He's not a fighter,
You know,
but I
10,
think
9,
that'd
10
be
years
right up
old.
his alley too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anybody
but you
can
gotta
learn how
punch
to do
him
this.
first because he's got no.
Oh yeah. He's got
less than one ball.
Jerry's like, give me the epi.
Some child abuse ahead of time. No.
Hey, it's only abuse if he's smaller than
Yeah.
you. Right? He's
My
taller than me.
My mom always said it's not child abuse if I hit you more than 3 times.
I get 3 good ones.
I get 3 good ones, and then after that,
Hey, it's
I
that
gotta
child
stop.
abuse if it's your mom, bro.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
mom can still beat your ass.
Yeah, for real.
I'm still scared of my mom.
I'm still.
Oh.
She's small, but she's quick.
You wanted to give some shout outs to some of your
Yeah, some of the cutmen I look up to, man. Of course, Dr. Zamorano. Of course, everybody in the World Cutmen's Association. Big Serge Estrada. He's been 3 times Cutman of the Year, and he's also now Anderson Silva's Cutman
I wait.
for his boxing matches.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
Big Serge, man. He was one of the ones that I used to message, and he would give me advice. He's also a vet as well. He was a medic in the Army. Of course, I want to give a shout out to Harley Riddle. Also, Big Rob Monroe. He's the cutman in the UFC, the tall guy with the glasses. He's sponsored by Empire Pro Tape, and he always hit me up. Any questions I have, he's always there. So.
Is he part of the organization as well?
No, he's not.
No?
He's not. There's a couple of guys that are working under the UFC, but you don't really see them in the background. You'll see them in UFC Fight Pass, that are in the Cutmen's Association, but because there's 2 of them right now. There's the ICA, the International Cutmen's Association. That's where they have Stitch Duran as their honorary president. Big Surge is in the International Cutmen's Association. Also, I want to give a shout out to Juan Ramirez. He's the owner of Cutman for Hire. If anybody needs any Cutman supplies, I ordered my first Cutman kit from them.
Yeah.
And he's part of the International Cutmen's Association. And you'll see him in UFC Fight Pass as well. He does a lot of their work over there.
Nice.
So I see you brought your bag in. How much is that bag? Like, how much money is in that bag right now?
Probably about $500.
Damn.
And
Those
that's
scissors
not
alone.
even
a full bag.
That's pretty much my hand wrap bag. I usually carry, if I have to travel, and depending on how many people I'm working with, I have a huge duffel bag that I lug around.
That's just nothing
With
but
all that
wraps
stuff.
and shit like that.
It's tape, more swabs, boxes of gauze, knuckle padding, my caddy, the little caddy that I put where I put ice, and tons of towels. I go through towels like crazy. We like to use black towels,
That's
but there's a
nice.
reason for that. Is so that
No blood?
because that way the some fighters they freak
Freak
out
out,
when
yeah.
they see a cut. So you know what I mean. You wipe them down, they don't see any blood, and also because we wear a lot of black because we're supposed to blend in, just like the rest wear black. We're supposed to blend in the background. We're not even supposed to be really seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now I probably have about $500 in my bag, and that's not even half of the stuff I carry.
That's fucking crazy. Nah, man. I don't know. I mean, any more questions you guys have for Gerry and stuff? I mean, this was
Shit, there's a lot of stuff I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good info, man.
yeah. Like I I was like, what are we gonna talk about? not like, cause like you're not an interesting character, but I was like, what is this world? You know, like I said earlier, like we love boxing, but this is just something totally new that we never wanted to, like we never thought of uncovering, and
Right.
I don't know, it's quite fascinating, but yeah, man. Like, this was fucking badass. It was fucking
Hey, thank
cool.
you guys, man, for having me and let me talk about it, man. I was really excited when you guys actually reached out back and
Yeah.
say, hey, man, come on in. And I'm sorry I couldn't do it before, but I've been so busy, man.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I like it.
busy.
I've been traveling a lot, and
Yeah.
I think this was one of my first weekends that I've been in town. You know, I've been traveling
Yeah.
every weekend. It's usually between Thursday to Sunday or Thursday till Monday when I'll be coming back, because usually the fights are during the weekend.
Weekend.
And like when I went to Lubbock, I was there for like a whole week, and it was just for nationals, and it was just to wrap one kid.
Oh, shit.
You know, like I said, it's I got amateur fighters that take better care of me than some of these pros. You know,
Yeah.
talking about I don't make no money, but
So,
you-
what,
you-
where are you going to be in the next, I don't know, 3 years? Where's your goal?
my goal is to be in the UFC in the next 3 years,
Yeah.
or Bellator, one of the big names, you know, or working with a big name boxer, you know. But everything, you know, like one of my mentors told me, you know, in this game you got to have patience.
Yeah.
You know, I've been at this since 2015, and this is the most work I've had. You know what I mean? So it takes a long time. Like I said, you got to have a passion for this. You got to love it. You know what I mean? Especially when a lot of the stuff comes out of your pocket.
The Gerry,
You know, and there's
Gerry Burgos Cutman school.
yeah, hopefully, you know, I've been wanting to do some seminars
Pretty
here
sick.
pretty soon too, but
Dope.
like I said, it's really hard to work with other gyms, you
Yeah.
know, and you know, work the business aspect of it, because they always want to take most of your money, but you're the one that's doing all the work and has all the knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And hey, shout outs to Zen too, man. Mondo always hits me up, man. He learned a lot from me helping him. He was
Yeah.
already doing really good. He was one of the first few coaches that was actually wrapping hands properly, like
Yeah, that dude's
like you
knowledgeable,
should,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know. And
Got these Zen pants on. That's so-
but you know, he has given me an outlet over there to practice a lot
Yeah.
too. So he learned a lot. So that's why when he takes off with his fighters, I know that their hands are gonna be well taken care of,
Yeah.
because he's like one of my apprentices as well. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him into the association, but I gotta get him to do some more Cutman stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but he, you know, shout outs to Mondo, man, and everybody at Zen as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Also a shout out to Doñana Boxing in Las Cruces up there, man. Everybody, you know, they always let me, and they give me a chance to wrap their hands too, and they see me around. So every time, either when I was at nationals,
Mhm.
you know, they always hit me up, and Terry Green up there at the Air Force Academy.
Oh, yeah. Well, Gerry, yeah, thanks a lot for coming in, man. It was fucking cool. You made us feel like tough guys for one day out of the week, so this was definitely a fun show. Guys, before we wrap up the show, because I mean we have other topics, but I think we could just end this with Gerry.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But Anthony, before we wrap up, anything you
we didn't really. I know it's like a boxing thing, but we didn't really touch on the fantasy football. We are gonna do a fantasy football league. Just stay tuned on that.
Gerry's
Social
gonna be in
media.
it.
Yeah, Jerry, you're more than welcome.
He doesn't follow
Yeah.
football. He'll be at the
You're
bottom.
into it, man.
Watch
It's
Gerry.
open.
We invite Gerry, and he wins
He
the
wins
fucking
it all.
league.
Hey.
I know, right? I
And then-
randomly,
and then
I
we could-
randomly pick all these players, and I end up
And then
winning.
we just
It
won't-
happens.
We
That's
just
usually what
won't
happens
pay
sometimes.
Gerry, and then he'll be like, "Man, these fucking guys."
Yeah, no, we're gonna put together a little gift
It'll be
gift
Golden Boy
basket.
Promotions
So,
is running this.
so yeah, I just wanted to put my 2 cents on that, man. Jerry, thank you for coming, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you
it's
guys
awesome
again
to
for
have you
having
on.
me, man, and I hope to be back again, man. I was
Definitely.
really
Oh, yeah.
excited to be back, man.
No,
You're more than
yeah,
welcome anytime.
dude.
Next time, someone's gonna get cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and yeah, for sure, man. And like I said, if anybody wants to learn how to properly wrap hands,
Yeah.
hands, or you wanna learn anything about being a Cutman, hit me up.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody already knows. You all got my my Instagram. Hit me up.
Yeah, Peter.
No, man, just want to thank you again, and for sure we'll stay in touch and see what's new with you. And if you ever want to bring any of your fighters or anything,
Of course,
man,
yeah,
you
we
reach
can
out
do
to us and
for
we'll
sure. We
work
can do
together.
another show, and I'll bring some of my up and coming amateurs and some of the pros that I know. Man, I know they would love to be in the show as
Oh
well.
yeah.
And then we'll start our training against RuPaul probably.
All right, man.
I don't know,
Soon.
2 weeks from now. I'm hungry right now. So.
Same.
Hey, you gotta eat,
What are the chances you're giving Peter to defeat RuPaul?
man. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
100%, bro.
All right, I'm hoping. Shit, don't let us down, Peter. Fucking, or you'll never get that fight with
I'm
Jake
gonna send
Paul.
him my video today when I go home,
Yeah.
training in the garage.
You're in the freezer. Just
Meat.
He's,
Punching
like,
meat.
he's not even punching me. He's just hitting the peas and shit. Fucking weenies. Nah, but you know what's funny, guys? This was Pat's first show back. Unfortunately, we didn't get
Welcome
to
back,
talk to
Pat.
him.
hell yeah, it was fun, man. No, I showed up late. It was my
yeah.
fault. I'm
The
sorry.
prodigal child has returned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was already giving you shit. Already.
Yeah.
You weren't here.
Just don't listen the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'll have to listen. I won't listen. I'll just skip to when I get here.
Yeah.
We'll do the Pat Welcome Back show next week.
Yeah.
we'll
That's
do that
next
next week. Yeah,
when you show up.
when I
15
show up on
minutes
time.
late. No, but yeah, Pat. I mean,
It's
Are you
fun,
are you
dude.
happy being
I miss
back?
my chair. I miss you guys. This shit was
Hell
fun.
well,
yeah.
that's not your chair.
It's
Jerry's
okay.
in your chair.
Yeah, but it's okay. Like,
Because he
Hey, I
even
was
asked.
told I was supposed to
Yeah,
say
yeah,
this.
It was like, where am I
I don't
supposed
know,
to say?
man.
We're like, just sit in Pat's seat. He's not gonna fucking come.
no, I like this. I like this little setup. I like these tables.
Yeah,
I like
the
the
tables
tables.
are
I
nice.
like the fucking
Yeah.
the lights.
Dude,
and
they're
shit.
fucking smooth.
I like this
Awesome
fucking
upgrades.
TV that we got over here. Fucking, this shit's dope.
Yeah.
All right, Jerry, we need to get some of your shit in here though.
Yeah.
Like,
Like a portrait.
I
of
mean,
Jerry.
we got
Yeah,
this
man.
portrait.
He's got like a wrap, just like
Yeah, I
Gonna
do
put his
actually. I
face
actually
on the
have
Tiger Woods.
some raps that I saved that of
Yeah.
myself that when I rap my own.
Fuck
bars.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
hang those bitches up.
Yeah,
I'm
we
down.
can put
Or
or
put
like,
his face on the Tiger Woods here.
No. We can't change Tiger Woods.
Right, dude,
That's
guys.
the Godfather.
Hey,
right there.
bring that up again, Anthony. God damn, that does look like Jerry.
Give him a hat. Give him a Nike
Dude,
hat.
Pat, go get
Yeah,
your
swoosh.
golf clothes.
I'll be right back.
Fuck it. God damn, Jerry, if you can participate in any other sport, what would it be?
Any other sport?
Yeah,
And like you were like a fucking
and
Class A champion.
yeah, you were a fucking badass.
Baseball.
Baseball,
Baseball, that's a
Ooh,
good one.
I
shit.
love baseball.
yeah.
I,
Yeah?
I played when I was younger, of course. You know, I'm
Damn.
Puerto Rican.
Who's
Everybody
your
plays
team?
baseball.
Hey, did you
Yeah.
ever have a milk carton as a glove?
No,
Oh.
no.
Fucking
We
Mariano
used
Rivera?
them. We used them for basketball.
Oh shit!
We'd cut the bottom of the milk crate and then tie it with some wire around the pole, the light pole, like
There you go.
outside. and
I still got that
that
shit.
was it.
Nothing but net,
There you
baby.
go.
Nothing
What?
but crate.
What was your favorite number in baseball growing up?
Number 2.
Number 2? Oh, okay. I thought it would have been 21.
No.
Pato Clemente.
Yeah.
No.
Number 2. He's like, nah.
That's next show. Next show.
Yeah. Dude, that's fucking badass.
He's like, nah, I'm just afraid of planes now and shit.
God damn.
I don't get on planes anymore.
He's like, he just travels by
Yeah.
bus.
Yeah.
and
He's
fucking-
like, I drive everywhere
yeah.
to Germany.
to Germany.
Fucking driving on water and shit.
I go the Anchorage to Russia route.
He's hooked on Germany, dude. He said Jerry looked like he's German.
Because he said he was bilingual. I was hoping it was German.
Yeah, he said I look like a German. I don't know where that
the
came
first,
from.
The first company he named for the World Cup, man, was Germany. And I was like, okay, maybe he's German.
Fucking shit. Well, Jerry, thank you for coming in, man.
Thank you
This
so
was
much,
super
guys.
fun. Yeah, guys, like Anthony was saying, fucking, we're gonna try to get a fantasy football league soon. Hopefully, you guys, if you want to participate in it, you can go ahead and hit us up, DM us, or shoot us that email. What's our email, Anthony, by the way?
The middle's open 915@gmail.com.
Damn, he
Anthony's-
had that ready.
Dude,
He had that
just,
ready.
He just sounds so great when he says that.
Hey, Anthony, what's your phone number? What's my phone number?
Yeah. But, yeah,
I should have given him your number.
fucking, Jerry, once again,
Thank
last
you guys.
time. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks
Well,
a lot,
guys, this was The Middle is Open.
Peace.